What's going on, everybody? Welcome to today's broadcast of the NACL qualifiers here on Aegis, where we are going to be following Dorado Gaming throughout the whole weekend, and hopefully for Dorado coming in to following weekends as well. Seeding would certainly support that. My name is Gordo. I am joined by TDS on the broadcast today. How are you doing, TDS?
Hey, excited. I last time I sadly missed out on being part of the OQs when it was 3 teams qualifying for the NECL. This time around, it's going to be the relegation promotion tournament, and watching Dorado is going to be an exciting thing. One of the teams probably with some of the best upside that there is right now in terms of what their players are capable of doing. They have good experience, they have good new potential, and I think this could be a mix that may surprise a lot of people.
Yeah, I definitely agree here. I mean, bringing in Ariana onto this team, it definitely going to be exciting. Kaido, of course, been in and around the OQ scene for a while, formerly known as City Witty. Shochi, the NACL veteran himself, and joined by
Yep.
Fatikan and Mixture down there in the bottom lane. So I think there's plenty to say about pretty much every player on this roster. Pick somewhere to start for us, TDS.
So I always like to start with the mid lane. I have said it before and I will say it once again. I'm mid lane biased, and Shochi is one of those players that was extremely exciting to see in the NACL. Started really great when he was part of those feared teams that were part of the NACL through its start. And then he kind of sadly fell off. I wouldn't say skill-wise he fell off, but it felt like he was having more complications the longer the splits went, and he was having some difficulty being able to find his form once again. But I feel like trying to re-enter into the NACO with one of these OQ teams, a team that has this sort of upside, can be really good for him. He's going to be one of the stars of this team in my eyes, but also he will probably be one of the main guiding forces in them, because he is probably the most experienced here next to what, Ariana and City Weedy. I would say he probably has even more experience being how his success went by. So I think it's going to be important how he's going to perform, but also how he's going to manage this team out in different ways.
Yeah, completely agree with that one. And Shochi, he's been out of the NACL for a split now, but I think
Yeah,
having watched the whole season, right, there were 5 rookie mids in this year. I think there is
he could have been
definitely
there.
a place for Shochi in there. I think he would have absolutely had himself a solid little split had he been able to find a spot in there or qualify when he was with Respawned. So excited to see how he's going to be able to do. Certainly going to be one of the strongest mid laners in this open qualifier. Facing off against SoL, these are largely platinum players, I do
Yep.
believe. Neons, Noslin, God Popo, Soul Care, and Stormy. I have seen a different name for Soul Care that if he has it in game, I'm not going to be able to help myself from saying it.
Agree. We probably will need to be ready for whatever comes, but like you're mentioning, not a ton of information more than just their champ pools in the OPGs, and we're going to have and see if they can pull off the surprise. It's not impossible to see a surprise come through, but I'm not expecting that at all. And going to start with the Seraphim pick. Interesting.
All right, starting things. So this is what's always interesting, right? We always had to say this back in 32 Team OQs when you and I would be covering top seeded Team
Yep.
Ambition rosters and stuff like this. There's always a little question of, the early games, you're expected to see some stomps out of the higher seeded team. That's definitely going to be the case even more so now that we're at a 64 team broadcast. But for that, I'd like to quote garbage motivational posters in offices all around the world and ask, what would you do if you weren't afraid, TDS? Because that's a question that we get to have Dorado answer here for the first question, right? For the first game. If you have no threat against you from the other team whatsoever, at least don't expect to, what comp do you show? What do you go for when you are the mad heavy favorites and you can basically feel confident going with whatever you want? This will be an interesting kind of litmus test for the rest of the OQ.
So being honest with you, I'll just straight up and say, you go whatever the hell you want. You probably are not going to be forced into a weird spot. You're not going to be forced into something really bad. And even if you're going against a more meta composition, which I do think that Dog is kind of going, you can really take anything and try and just pressure them as much as possible. So with what the side of, oh wait, it's changing side. So it's not even, it's so
so it's the Seraphine first pick from SoL.
Okay. That makes a little bit more sense in the sense that this is more expected in the way, but at the same time, I'm kind of curious why DOG is going for the more traditional composition. Maybe they are going just straight up with we will beat you with what's known, and that's going to be perfectly fine. Because I'm from the other side, like I was mentioning, I would just take whatever the hell I want and just try and beat you with it. Because I'm pretty sure nobody's going to like take this game seriously in terms of scouting. So there's not going to be any meaningful like thing that they can take out of this in some ways without trying to be as disrespectful as possible, obviously. But the discrepancy in levels does matter to a certain degree at these levels.
Yeah, I completely agree with that one. So it's going to be the Annie coming through for Shochi, looking like going to be a little Annie Viego mid-jungle action here. Kaido getting his Kha'Zix banned away to start things off. Shochi losing out on that Azir and that Zed as well. And now we're going to be focusing on the bottom lane for the back half of the draft here. A little bit of a heartbreaker for me to see Mixture and Sushi separated. I've loved covering these guys over the last couple of splits, but Sushi moving on over to the near airport team over in the NACL, where he's been serving
going upwards
occasionally. Onwards and upwards for him. Mixture, another one of the top prospects in tier 3 right now, especially at the support position. So he's going to be piloting the rel to start things off, and he's going to be paired up with Fatakan, the import bot lane for ISU this past year, now going to be LFT, I believe, as their program will be discontinuing, unfortunately. But he's going to snap up the Samira to go alongside the rel for Mixture.
I think I've seen some like build pop up with Samira, something that changed that can be played now with her. I'm not 100% sure. Don't quote me on that, but I think I saw something from that. I'm still excited to see the Samira, and this is the sort of pick that I was talking about. Like, go all in, you go hyper aggressive in that bot lane, you get a couple of kills here and there, and you can stomp this game by 15 minutes, pretty much with that. And also, even though SoL takes the Silas here, there's quite a few ultimates that can be quite useful. It's not going to be the most, I would say, Silas ult game, just because it can be a mix of things here. And lastly, with the Seraphine pretty much 100% going towards the bot side, you're missing now the top lane or mid lane, depending on what you want to go for. I'm not sure what it's going to be, but we'll just have to wait.
Yeah, we'll wait for word on what this pick is. I'm assuming it's a top laner. I would predict Silas mid, Seraphine bot, but could be the Silas top, as you said. I don't know if I would blind Silas top personally. Looking for a Shen lock-in from Ariana here. This is a big carry top lane player. We haven't gotten to talk about Ariana much, but if you were here for ACL yesterday, you got to see a big Ariana masterclass on his ACL team, Mint, who were putting up a big fight, but not quite able to come home with the win over Next Level Esports. But Ariana put on a hell of a show, though, especially on the Mbessa. Very, very dangerous player. That actually slips through pick and bans here, unless it's that secret pick from SoL that we still are not aware of. So if the Mbessa's not locked in, I'm surprised that we didn't see Ariana go for it. I guess this team kind of needs a tank at this stage. You got Viego in the jungle, sure. But I would have loved to see it.
So it's adding on to the shields. I'm not against the shielding here from the Shen plus Yanni. Like, that combo can be a little bit
Volibear.
bad. Yeah, it can be a little bit volatile if you're able to play it really, really well. So it's going to be fun seeing it. And the Volibear, I'm not sure how it does into the Shen matchup, but I would argue that if you're trying to auto attack or go with a bite, if you put your Spirit's Refuge, you're probably going to deny it or deny the damage.
Yeah, Rolling Thunder is an auto attack. So
yeah, probably works out like that. So it would make sense in terms of matchup, and then having the ulti to go worldwide is going to be really ideal. And then speaking a little bit, obviously, on what we saw yesterday from Ariana, his carry potential was great, but I think in this sort of team where he's not the main carry, because that is a big difference compared to Mint Gaming, to this Dorado Gaming squad. On that roster, you are the star 100%. But here, you have other players that have the quality to be able to carry, that have the potential to be able to carry. So him trying to play a little bit more of a enabler can be really good for them. But I also think that they are going to save that carry potential for later series where they are facing stronger teams as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's not a secret that Ariana plays Mbessa. Yeah. So I don't think you got to be too worried about giving away too much. But hey, you know what? You'd be amazed at the lack of forethought that some of these teams might end up putting into some of these drafts. And Ariana's new to the region, so could very well be a little bit of secret tech to be had if you haven't done too much Googling around what ACL or what Midwestern Esports Conference might have looked like, where Ariana has played so far. I do believe this will be their debut for OQs here. If they played in OQ1, I apologize, but it has slipped my memory.
I don't remember either, so I'll follow you on that. But he has played, so we know his potential. We just don't know how long he has been here to really show it. But this roster has every, like, once again, just try and glaze it even more, maybe, especially because we are technically partnered with them, so glazing them, it's completely fine. This is a roster
we're going to be with them all day and all tomorrow.
Exactly. So this roster is built to try and be the best it possibly can, and to continue also with the idea of Dorado Gaming. There have been a organization that has had rosters multiple times before, but I feel like this has to be one of the first, if not the first, that really feels like has qualification in their minds.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, this is the strongest roster they put together before. And correction on my earlier statement, Ariana did play with Grandview in the last OQ. So played with their collegiate team, Castle, Ginkgo, Laleo, and Inflame. They did all right. They were 23rd seed. They, of course, did not make NACL. This is a much stronger roster for Ariana, though, bar none. Like you said, for Dorado in general, probably the highest odds to promote roster that we've gotten to see from this organization so far, making a strong push for NACL here in the spring qualifier.
Yeah, and we already had the fairy tale story from the side of AMI this last split, where they were able to qualify with players that were not even there. I think Dorado Gaming has 100% the chance to be able to pull it out this time around.
Oh yeah.
I will say though, I here goes once again the bias part. I hope AMI doesn't relegate, because I do like that team, but it's going to be fun seeing them face against some of these OQ rosters that are quite strong. Not counting Dorado, Citadel as well looking good, Gravity as well looking good. It could be a really fun relegation tournament.
Yeah, it definitely could be. I'm realizing now that the Battlefy does not have the days of the games on it the way that it did last time. So I am curious if we actually will get to see Dorado tomorrow, because last OQs, it was a lower bracket only day 2. So a 2-0 day 1 might give you the day off on Sunday. If so, we will find out. And oh, there we go. It's Fem Socrates coming in the bottom lane. I was expecting some of these names to be a little bit different. We are being told, though, some of these names may not be in order, so different players may be playing different champions on the SoL side once we do get onto the Rift.
Yeah, we ideally need to have the PG names, the names that we actually can say on broadcast. If not, you're bound to get your name botched, and I'm not against it, so be prepared for that, just in case.
Yeah, no, it's all right. That's gonna be fun. So we will find out what their LCS order truly is once we actually get on to Summoner's Rift. I think they're technically supposed to be in roster order in the lobby, but you know, these guys, there's not necessarily going to be expecting to run the deepest in the tournament. They may not have followed all of the rules super closely.
Is there like any rule that they get bans taken away or something like that if they don't follow it? Like, I'm actually not even sure.
I doubt it.
Yeah, like I wouldn't even be mad if they don't enforce that, because like, let's be real on that one.
Yeah. So see if we can get some more information on what the bracket schedule is actually going to look like in the background, but definitely going to be okay. There we go. Ivar's got me. So day 2. Okay, so we will be doing round 3 winners bracket tomorrow and round 4 winners bracket. So they're condensing the schedule a little bit more to get through the OQs a little bit faster. I think maybe they're not even condensing it, and I'm just wrong about what the OQ schedule was last time. Either way, we will be able to continue to watch Dorado tomorrow. Either way, depending on their results today. A loss here will be it for your day, though. You will not have lower bracket 1 until tomorrow. So definitely, it would be a tragedy in a lot of ways if Dorado ended up dropping here in the first game. But SoL certainly going to do their best to be able to win out a best of 3 here up against the number 5 seed.
Hey, imagine if they pulled off the upset here. We actually these players are not plaid. They are actually just not playing enough, but they were all challenger a few years ago, and they were just bring in the fire here and take a game off of the Dorado Gaming. That's the sort of story we need to have so that people can be excited about this.
Yeah, definitely a lot to be hyped.
Unless you're a Dorado Gaming fan, though, I will say, unless you're a Dorado fan, you probably won a 2-0 quickly here, and that's it.
Yeah. You know, we'll see. It really depends on how long the other series goes, because this is a rolling start. So Dorado is
True.
going to be, of course, playing SoL here. And then the C37 match can't start until Novosphere Gaming Myth and Hokage Esports finishes. So if that series goes to 3, I mean, might as well play a third game over here, right? Just to keep everything rolling along. Otherwise, we're going to take like a 45-minute break. Everyone's
Yeah.
going to leave. It's going to be a viewership disaster.
Okay, we also have like some weird situation here. We're just waiting, by the way. Don't look at the graphic. Don't take that in face value because we don't know if they are actually organized. So this may
Interesting.
not
So
be
they
a Nautilus jungle.
Okay, they ended up with
Yeah.
Nautilus jungle. That is, I mean, the game locks you into Smite if you're in the jungle position now. So that would mean Jarvan does not have Smite. Nautilus does have Smite.
Well, no, because like this is dependent on if they end up in the jungle, like with the jungle spot, right? But we don't know if they are in order for that.
Yes, I would assume when we're being told that Nautilus is in the jungle spot that he is. Okay, no, all right, yeah, they're just out of order. They're just out of order. Okay,
so just
okay.
out of order, yeah.
All right, you got it. You got it, TDS. Thank goodness. It is Jarvan in the jungle. We can switch them up on the scoreboard. Very good, very good.
You know what? I
Jarvan
disagree.
support Nautilus.
I hope
I love me some Nautilus jungle.
Yeah, I
dude,
would
but
have
it is
loved
not
it,
season
man.
3 anymore.
It would have been hilarious. It would have been fun. And it's the kind of curveball that I think we need to see from teams that are not at equal skill ceilings, where to try and play that. And I know they are trying to trap. But wait, actually, they're going to spot the rail here. Yeah, it's not going to turn into anything.
All right, there's our boy Socrates coming in, landing a couple of those high notes. Full name has made its appearance here, but it is, of course, going to be the Smite Jarvan. MCFC be the name this player is going by now. None of these guys have alternate comp IDs. We do want to call out, though, Renacitur is Kaido, and I Am Mute Deafen is Mixture.
Okay. That is some interesting change up in names. And yeah, they're going to spot here everyone from the side of Dorado, but it's not going to net them much of a lead in terms of just spotting them. They are not going to be able to go into the jungle either. It's just going to be getting a little bit of damage onto the Zamira, and in general just going to have a little bit of control inside the enemy jungle, but not even deep vision from the side of Dorado inside of the jungle.
Yeah, definitely. So laning phase kicking on off here. Nothing too crazy at the level 1. Not too much early jungle scouting coming on across. I am excited to see Shochi pilot this buffed Annie, though. They did give some pretty sizable buffs to this character. She's not so Tibbers reliant anymore. Does do a little bit more upfront and can be a pain in the laning phase.
I think she was a pain anytime that you played against her just because of her point and click CC consistently, but certainly trying to move around damage from just the T-burst to elsewhere was going to be ideal, and you still get a lot of value from the T-burst, right? Like the penetration that you're able to get, the fact that you're able to move around with that, it's going to be always ideal. As we see a lot of trading already. 3 of the lanes are essentially in Dorado's control, and with the Viego, he's pretty much going to have a free time. You have barely anything to worry about the Jarvan trying to go into your jungle because everything is controlled.
Yeah, this is going to be a nice, easy early clear for Kaido, and he's actually going to look to try to take the fight into MCFC here, crossing right over, finding him on the birds, and forcing the flash out of MCFC while claiming himself those Raptors. Trying to walk back in, going to have to flag and drag back out, and now isolated away from the bottom side of their jungle as Mixture and Fatakan are coming to back them up.
Actually, Ariana forcing his flash out in the top lane after taunting the Volibear, so a little bit of a misplay there, but you know what, it's fine. It can happen, that sort of thing. I'm surprised, not gonna lie, that Ariana is not taking Ignite in the top lane. I was fully expecting him to just go full aggro in the top lane, get a kill up there pretty comfortably with Ignite, and then just play with the Stand United elsewhere.
My Boy needs his weak side practice, all right? On Mint Gaming and ACL, he has been on carry roles almost every game. He's got a couple of Scion games in there. Other than that, he's always on carry tops. Got to get the reps in on the Shen, especially after seeing Alorum pilot it yesterday. So wants to, play the real role, right? It means you don't go Ignite Shen. You got to take your licks, perhaps not have the solo kill pressure, and come in to support your team later on.
Yeah, ideally just buff the Zamira so that she can just go all in onto the backline and delete anyone that tries to go against her. She has the damage. She has the they have also the stun here.
Yeah, gonna be able to find Popo Ariana going to chase him down. Will be able to get the taunt on through. Pulls through the Spirit Blade as well. Flash forced out, but it is a stun connecting from Kaido, and first blood to Dorado in the top lane.
Yeah, pretty comfortable, pretty easy, waiting for the wave to just push forward, and they get the immediate engage as, oh, another engage here in the bot lane.
Pull back in from Mixture, double stun from Mixture, and Fatikan right on top of him with the style spread up. Going to be able to pick on up a kill there in the 2-on-2. Socrates trying to chase down Mixture now to get a kill back. Will Fatikan be able to get his support a path out of here? Flash away. And now Fatikan's still stepping up here, still gaining up style points. See if they can get that extra movement speed to chase him down. I do not think the kill pressure is there, though.
Yeah, and it's not worth it to try and go even harder here. You already used your summoners to try and get the kill. Also, a quick thing we didn't know about, but it's apparently going to become more prevalent, it feels like. Mixture running the Unsealed Spellbook as well.
Yeah, I guess this last round of Unsealed Spellbook buffs really putting it on the people's radars. You know, at max stacks, I guess you call them stacks, you now get a new summoner spell every 90 seconds. That's pretty frequent. It pretty much guarantees you're going to have something relevant up for every fight later in the game. So definitely seeing a little bit more value on that one. Is Kaido's arrived top again, and Popo is now flashless up way too far. He's going to go down again here.
Yeah, sad for Popo in this situation. Who's going to get the kill? It is going to be Kaido. So pretty comfortable kill there. Also, they are freezing the wave in front of the turret. So they really are just trying to like choke them out of life as best as they can. Actually, I wasn't even noticing. Look at Choji's mid lane CS.
Yeah, doing quite a bit to old Neons here, who is struggling as a melee into Annie. That is not an easy matchup by any means. He's got a lot of powerful ultimates to steal this game, but will struggle to have the stats to back them up. If he can't get some support here, maybe level 6 will feel a little bit more confident.
Hey, the Send United is going to be nice because at least he can save someone long enough so that they can die they can take longer to die instead.
Yeah, we will find out here. Fatikan getting the wave pushed in bottom. Needs to make sure that Kair can't pull him underneath the turret. So another slow does connect. Good dodge there. Kair in a little bit far now. Stunned up by Mixture. Costs him about half of his HP. There are 4 members for each team down here on the bottom side. Ariana with access to Stand United as well.
Yeah, they have more opportunities. Oh, instant gauge, but Neons, I'm not sure about this. Actually, I'm sure about this.
Taking a fair bit of damage, waiting for Kaido here, burning the ignite, and Neons with a solo kill onto Shochi. Meanwhile, the dive in mid will come up for Dorado. Fatikan getting underneath the turret, trying to make this into a 1-for-1 or a 2-for-1 rather, but will end up falling. Socrates able to clean that one up. Mixture though, right on top of the Seraphine to turn it into a positive play, but MCFC might be able to chase this one down. Flashes after, but crash down for the extra space. And I do think Mixture is going to be able to walk this one out. No Cataclysm at level 5.
Yeah, not even able to run away, but hey, 1 kill for Neons in the mid lane, 1 for nothing, able to escape as well. So really well done getting a solo kill onto Shochi. And even though the Send United is used bot side, they still get a 1-for-1 or a 1-for-2 in that play as well. So all in all, not the worst for SoL. Now, with that being said, they still are behind in gold. They are still behind in a lot of CS. And also just around the map, Kaido has been able to accomplish more. Able to gank, able to now get the first objective in favor of Dorado. It's just more in control for the side of Dorado Gaming. But I'm glad to see that SoL is still trying to fight.
Yep, absolutely. And it does look like they're getting themselves a little bit back, but still getting themselves further and further behind in the CS departments is certainly going to hurt as Fatikan comes up with a kill in the 2 versus 2. Another nice start off by Mixture here. And Ariana looking for a solo kill. Stormbringer forced out defensively here at level 6. Neon's still taking these trades up against Shochi. Probably needs to be more concerned in the CS department, especially as traded back onto. Will it be a kill? It will not for SoL. It's going to be Dorado picking up kills in 2 different lanes.
But you know what? Shochi had to bring his jungler here to be able to get the kill. Neons did it by himself, so we take that every other time.
Think about it.
Exactly. He had to call more people as, oh, Ariana though.
Oh,
maybe
now
get the kill
Ariana
here.
going to be on the other side of that one. Cataclysm comes through. Ariana just cuts one down. Kier can't get away from the Magnet Storm, just stuck inside, and Fatikan cleans it up. Ariana with the full-on 1 versus 2. Dorado Gaming are running away with game number 1.
Yeah, maybe we were actually wrong. Actually, Ariana can play carry Shen. It's just how quickly he can get a couple of kills. After that, it's carry Shen for Ariana.
Yeah, I mean, do you even need the Ignite if you're going to be able to pick up all these solo kills? Fatikan, you're nuts, dude. He's dodging out on everything. He's at sub 200 HP, trying to brawl with the enemy bot laner. Does avoid most of the damage, but I think we'll have to give up on this pursuit.
Yeah, now Neon's really is going head onto Shochi as much as he can every time. Maybe behind in CS by a lot. Maybe he can get kill here. Not enough yet. It's actually funny seeing just panning into the mid lane, and every time something happens is Neon taking like half up from Shochi and then immediately answering back with the Annie. How it should work probably, but it's kind of hilarious just seeing them fight it out consistently. The CS though is something that we don't want to notice.
Yeah, this is the real battle of Titans here in mid lane, where they've traded the kills back and forth a few times. Kaido cheating again though, gets in there, be able to pick up a kill in the 2 versus 1, 3 versus 1 really if you count Mixture's presence as well. That's going to take Neons off the map yet again.
Oh, Fatikan really wants to go in.
Fatikan, one more stack, and he'll be able to use Inferno Trigger. He's got it now. Just going to step up, chunking down Kier as low as he can. And here comes the Encore. Does connect onto Fatikan, but Barrier will keep him standing. And here's Kaido to try to clean up with the dive. Now going to be able to get out with Heartbreaker, and this is going to be plates, gold, and everything else for Dorado in the bot lane.
Yeah, it's more than likely bound to be first turret gold as well after pushing this wave. They get a really easy kill. They actually could even just wait for the Jarvan to come, and if they are smart enough, they can just try and get the kill there. Once again, Neon's really trying to force onto the Annie, not finding a lot this time around though, but it's still forcing as much as they can, and in the top lane, Ariana really is just destroying this poor Bolivar's life.
You know, Neon's has done well by being able to get that solo kill. It's just the 37 CS that makes things a little difficult. As Ariana solo kills Popo again.
He's 40 now.
Yeah, and once again, Kaido living in mid lane, setting up a tent. Neon's forced off again, and will be held to that 40 CS for the time being, unable to find another solo kill on his Shochi.
So more than likely, Shochi will be the first member to reach the Flame Horizon. Oh, Socrates.
Yeah, coming on through and nowhere to go. Fatikan gets 1 kill before the Inferno Trigger can even come out and make it a double for Fatikan. 17-2 on the scoreboard here, and another attempt flashing away from the Cataclysm, and no kill to be found. MCFC melted in the 1 versus 3. Shochi with a flash Tibbers.
The counter Tibbers.
2 from Neon. The great escape goes for the stun, blocked by Tibbers. MVP performance from Shochi with the Tibbers micro, saving Kaido from dying to the dive.
Yeah, could have been way closer there, but yeah, Neon's actually trying his hardest to survive that. Really nice flash from Shochi, really nice skill they get in the mid lane once again. Yeah, I gotta respect the way that he's been playing the Silas. The CS, it's something separate. We don't talk about that, but his play being so far behind to the Annie has been better than expected. And then on the bot side, we see 3 kills for the Samira. That is just normal. That is what we should expect going forward now. Oof.
Yeah, wow. I mean, Ariana picking up a Tiamat, working on that Titanic Hydra. Maybe, you know, you could even consider a Ravenous if you're feeling it this game. I think you could consider AP this game, quite frankly, and probably doesn't have to worry about too much. It's kind of running away from SoL at this stage.
Do they want to dive? Oh.
Yeah, and Fatikan still had the Blade Whirl. That is Encore broken down into nothing.
Maybe it was a bait. Maybe they will try and do something later with the anchor, without the anchor, to like try and play it so that they think the anchor was everything, but now they don't have it. And oh, not again, Neons.
Yeah, gonna get stunned up, gonna get focused down, and this should be a clean up for Kaido. 6-0-1 in the jungle here, and Shochi getting some more time to work on these plates.
Pretty much, I gotta say, pretty much. Oh, wait.
Nice interrupt there from Kier. I don't think it matters. They will.
Yeah, no, they're going to die here
now. Fatikan takes a turret shot, but that's fine. He's gonna get it all back with Inferno Trigger. That is another double kill to Fatakan.
Oh, they are going to kill
another
him.
dive from Kaido in mid. And you just can't stay on the map if you're SoL.
No, they have to find different ways to find gold, but I'm not sure what the gold it's going to be able to be obtained anywhere because they are dying left and right. Like Orianna here going to find a ton, going to do a lot of damage. That previous kill, by the way, could have been a solo kill for Shochi. So even though there was Kaido in that position, it could have been a solo kill. Oh no.
Oppo flashing away.
Maybe he can run away.
Not managed to save his turret. Does spare his life. That was a TP off the spell book from Mixture to top lane, by the way. He's almost going to have an impact, but Popo, I think, is actually just dead in the 2 versus 1.
Neon's maybe dead here as well in the 2 versus 1.
Yeah.
And yep, another death. Just padding the stats here, pretty much expected, not gonna lie. The dragon is still alive, but nothing that they can really try and attempt to go for. And with a minion wave, they're going to push top lane. They have members in mid, members in top. The wave also getting pushed in bot by the Shen. They are trying to magnify the amount of gold that they will get.
Yeah, so I think the big... All right, hang on a second. MCFC coming in here. Can Fatakan and Mixture pull off the 2 versus 3? Turret comes on through. Fatakan has the stand united, and he takes the aggro right back. And Mixture playing with fire will fall down as well. Socrates walking away with 2.
See, 2 kills out of nowhere. That was the sort of play that SoL needed to find there. A little bit way too overcommitted in that play from the side of DOG, but... 2 deaths. They also get the shutdown of a Fatakan. They get the ultimate off of Orianna. Small victories, but that's what you need to find. Very small.
I think the big lesson this game is that 64 is a few too many OQ teams.
Did we need this game to find that out?
32.
Did we need this game to find that out though?
No, but I mean, I think this game gives us some evidence, though. This is going in the portfolio for sure.
Ooh.
All right, Shochi, killing spree there. Nice solo kill for the Volibear.
Yeah, I get another one. That's good. But yeah, like I respect the attempt that SoL is putting on here, but it certainly is a David versus Goliath, and David without like 2 legs.
Yeah, like I don't. It's Fatakan might die here.
Yep.
No,
he has enough damage and enough health and enough damage.
Yeah, and stepping up here.
Oh no, Care.
Another Magnet Storm out of Mixture. I think the goal here is now to see if Fatakan can get a pentakill.
They got a kill.
Playing with he's just taking too many turret shots. I think he needs to be a little more disciplined with avoiding the turret shots, and there is a pentakill angle to be had this game. Here comes the rest of the team. Kaido trying to style, flashes in,
no,
gets the reset, brawling with Neons now. And Shochi here to make it an even less fair fight. It's going to be another double kill to Kaido at 10-0 and 2.
Yeah, we now have to begin questioning ourselves if all those kills from Fatakan are because of his great play or because of Mixture just setting him up for success. Because like now a couple of times he has died when Mixture was not there, and when Mixture arrives, Mixture does something for the team. So we need to see who's the better part of that bot lane now. Yeah,
and pretty solid early performance here in game number 1 from all the Dorado boys.
Oh.
Yeah, Shochi's got a stat pad here a little bit. He's participated in 8 out of 33 kills. I think he could have disconnected this game and it would not have made a massive difference. He is about to complete the Flame Horizon though, so that's pretty strong.
Yeah, he was the first member to be closer to the Flame Horizon compared to the rest, so makes sense that he's the one that gets it at the end. They have taken down every tier 2 turret so far, it seems, and now they're moving towards the base. Hey, they have the Herald. Maybe they can try and get the Dancing Herald here. Maybe.
Yeah. Maybe. Does the Herald still dance? It probably does. Oh my goodness, using it for the knockups. Fatakan getting aggressive with his Herald usage.
Okay.
Ariana picking up the first kill, gonna deny any chances at a penta here. It is gonna be a kill coming through for Kaido. Here comes the Rift Herald charging through yet again. It gets stopped by, what was that? It doesn't hit anything.
I think it got stuck midway, but I'm not sure by what or why.
Yeah,
I didn't even know that was possible.
Did it just run out of distance? It didn't seem like it did. I don't know. We may have witnessed a Rift Herald bug here. That's going to deny us our Dancing Shelly, so I'm a little disappointed at that one. But Dorado going to continue their siege. I think this game is not going to go on too much longer.
Yeah, it's only for how long do the Dorado players want to be stuck here, if they want to finish quick or not. We did mention that they will have longer time to rest depending on how quickly they finish their series, but that not always is the best thing. And
Oh,
3 man's
big
gone.
flash tippers out of Shochi. Gonna be able to get the fight started. Here's the Inferno trigger. Everybody else melts. Socrates trying to back away will drop down. Popo, the last one standing, and Kaido and Mixture will finish it off. 40-6, 19 minutes. Dorado Gaming going to claim themselves their first win in what is a best of 3. These guys are going to run it back in a fearless game number 2.
Yeah, it's going to be first game going in the favor of the OG. I don't think it's a surprise for almost anyone, but pre-20 minutes, maybe they stat pad a little bit more here, killing MCFC or Keys, or waiting 40 minutes to kill them. Yeah, no, it's another kill.
No cigar that time. Can Neons walk away with one? He's got the Heartbreaker. I think that's the worst ultimate you could steal. And Dorado will be able to finish it off. 41-6, 1930. Dorado Gaming up 1-0 in the series.
Yeah, pretty comfortable win since minute 1 until the end of the game. Yeah, you can see it. Hey, there was a one moment where maybe they were equal, and then like everything is just red. But pretty much what we kind of expected out of Dorado. Pretty good game in general. A lot of damage from most of their players. Controlled in some situations.
Solo killed Shochi. You can walk away with that.
Yeah, there was a solo kill. So there's you can take that with yourself. Like, I solo killed a tier 2 mid lane player.
Yeah. I think he walked away with that. I mean, we played in a caster low team similar to the current caster low team back in like 2022. We played in one of the OQs because that one also had no rank requirement. That was considered ludicrous at the time. And I got one solo kill on a gank, and I still think about it. I'm talking about it on broadcast now in 2025. So that's going to be a big moment for SoL right there.
He can really make use out of that, and hey, I think he deserved it. He outplayed both Shochi and Kaido in that situation, so I think fully deserved in that sense. But the story of the game is Dog just completely demolishing and getting the first game victory. And looking into game 2, there's not much that you can try and correct if you're on the side of SoL. Like, sadly, you're way too outscaled, so you have to like find some cheese to try and make yourself come back here. But with the way that Fearless works, none of these champions are going to come back, and you have to find something unique to really play with.
Yeah, I think Shochi's got to get the aura back in this game number 2. I want to see an Akshan out of him or something. One of his like real patented, these mid lane marksmen, I think, are really what I think of when I think of Shochi. Yeah. I think that like Tristana, Lucian mid stuff that he was up to, the Zeri mid too. He was really, really good on back on Cincinnati Fear when they were like edge meta. When they became like the only meta when he was on Supernova, I feel like he lost a little of the sauce. So I want to see him bring it back now that we're back in a mage mid meta. Show us some marksman mid, and restore some glory after a very quiet Annie game.
I think he ends up like 5-1 and like 8 or 9, I think, after the last few assists. But with how much kills they get, it probably needs to have a little bit more of a flashy game. He still did his job. I won't take away that, but like, we can kind of joke with the fact that you got solo killed.
Oh yeah, and we can't. We're not going to let that one go. We'll see. That's going to come up on broadcast a few more times.
Yeah.
But let's throw it to break. Game number 2 kicking off in just a few minutes, so don't go anywhere. We'll see you guys on the other side. Welcome back, everybody, to today's broadcast of the NACL Open Qualifiers, where we have got Dorado Gaming up 1-0 over SoL. Game number 2, resetting back to 0-0. What are you looking for out of SoL in this game number 2, TDS?
Yeah, win. That's what I'm looking for them to try and win something. Like, be it win one lane, win one objective. Like, they need to find some sort of wins in some places, because last game it was just lose lanes, lose kills, lose objectives, lose game. And it's really difficult to play the game if you're going to that. Now, the combo that they are going for, Galio vibe, not necessarily a bad choice. If you have a little bit more engaged, perfectly fine to opt into that as well. Maybe look for something like a tank in the top lane that can just soak everything that Arena will do, and you can kind of go against it. Although they are playing Gwen, so like, not even that is going to be fun at all. Playing any tank against Gwen is probably going to be suffering. And the Ezreal here, so I like the Ezreal just because it does give you the agency to be self-sufficient without depending on anyone else, and that can mean that you, with your mobility, can try and survive a little bit longer, but still just a huge mountain to climb.
Yeah, absolutely. So we will find out what they're going to do to try to climb that mountain here. I like the Galio Vi combo. The Ezreal to be a little bit safer in the bottom lane, likely facing down Fatakan's Corki, unless that is a Corki mid for Shochi. I mean, that's a marksman mid laner, like what I requested, and it would be good into the Galio. So I actually am starting to believe that it may very well be a mid lane Corki here.
Yeah, it really could end up going that way. There's still a couple of opportunities here to go for a really weird bot lane pairing. Senna is still available technically, so could be an option as well that they opt into. But I'm just like guessing they are going to try and end this as quickly as they can in a similar fashion to the previous game. Although these champions are not as quick as something like the Annie, like the Samira, like the Shen that can start impacting since level 6. And with the Janna here, I'm actually not against the Janna. In a normal context, you get the push away for the Wukong, push away for the Gwen. You can try and give the shields for the Vi and the Ezreal to try and survive longer. So not against the champion at all, and it can be bothersome in the bot lane.
Definitely can be. So Janna gonna be the lock-in here for SoL, pairing up with that Ezreal.
Ooh.
And yep, the Lucian lock-in guarantees that it will be a mid lane Corki for Shochi here. Nami to be paired alongside it. Mixture of Fatakan, Lucian, Nami. A dangerous duo to be sure. And Irelia to round things out. Going into the top lane, likely up against this Gwen, unless it's Galio top.
I respect the fact that you want to try and go like hands against Ariana. I'm not sure if it's going to work out, but I respect the fact that you're confident enough to pull it off. And you know what? Go for it. 100% of the time, go for it. Now, this could be, like you're mentioning, this probably is a Lucian Nami combo. We still could see the Lucian in the mid lane, but when you pick Nami, it's pretty much a given that it should go to the bot lane.
Yeah, no, I think it's almost certainly Lucian, Nami, bot lane, Corki mid. The Galio Irelia is the only place where I really have any questions about where they might be assigning things. I mean, the Irelia would kind of be an interesting follow-up for the Silas in game 1. You know, maybe a little melee mid action. Will be melee mid action either way, I suppose, with that Galio coming through. Galio also probably a better matchup into the Gwen than it is into the Corki.
So, based on damage dealing types, yes. Based on like how champion works, probably not, because the Gwen anyway will just slice your health up thanks to her passive and the way that her Q works. So it's going to be really uncomfortable anyway. I think the Irelia Gwen at the very least gives you that like 60-40 chance or 50-50 chance to, like, if you win a 1v1, you can begin running with the matchup. And the Shroud doesn't necessarily protect you from the Blade bans if you're able to put it on top of her. So there's multiple ways to try and be effective against the win with Irelia. That being said, also you did get a SoL kill in the mid lane as a melee champion in the previous game. So maybe the Galio can pull it off. I think the Irelia in the mid lane will be hilarious. And if Shochi gets SoL killed once again, it would be even more funny to see.
It would be. It certainly would be. We'll see if Dorado gets a little overconfident anywhere at the end of the day and does end up making any mistakes, give up a little bit extra to SoL, give them a little bit more to hang their hat on as they look back on this event afterwards, as their day may very well be coming to an end pretty early here, as lower bracket does not play until tomorrow. So course, nobody getting eliminated here. Whoever does drop will go and play a lower bracket match tomorrow, where they will perhaps have better odds of being able to have some closer games than against a top 5 seed like Dorado Gaming here.
Yeah.
These guys certainly looking very dangerous, and you would be surprised if they weren't closing these games out in sub 20 minutes. So far they're making good on those promises. We'll see if they continue to do that in game at number 2.
Yeah, it's worked out for every other top 5 team, certainly DOG not being the exception at all this time around, and it does create some exciting opportunities for tomorrow's games in terms of when you made the lower tier teams, you can kind of go against each other, and you can also use like a small experience that you get out of losing this heavily against these teams to like feel confident enough that if you can put a little bit of pressure on top 5 teams, you can fight against any other team. Maybe not win against them, but fight against them to a certain degree.
Yeah, I'm looking around at the rest of the bracket for upsets here that we could maybe update people on.
Pretty sure they're not.
Does look like Mint Gaming was able to take an upset win in their first game. So shout out to PVS and the rest of the ACL squad there. Ariana's former current teammates in ACL, still on that team in ACL. So it doesn't, the Dorado team is kind of split up when it comes to ACL. I believe Kaido and Shochi are not participating at all this ACL split. Ariana on Mint Gaming and Mixture Fatikan on Legacy Esports, where they have all made playoffs now. But well, actually, no, never mind. Ariana has not after yesterday's loss, but they will.
Yeah, they still need to win one more.
Ariana's going to have 4 big matches in a row because he's going to go 4 big days of matches in a row because he's going to go from ACL qual match, 2 days of NACL OQs, and then another ACL qual match on Monday. So
imagine Ariana doesn't qualify in ACL but qualifies in NACL. Goes to show just what the competitive league is.
Hey dude, Zamudo missed an ACL playoffs once. That's all I have to say to that. Likely our front runner for ACL MVP, or for NACL MVP rather. Once upon a time did miss an ACL playoffs. So it can happen. It can happen to anybody at any time.
It was what we talked about, by the way. It looks like it's Galio in the top lane and the Aurelia in the mid lane.
It does look that way, doesn't it? So Popo might be busting out the Galio as a Gwen counter pick, and Neon's with a chance to replicate some solo kill success against Shochi's Corki here.
So will he be able to get another solo kill with the Aurelia? Like, you can get solo kill once, but getting solo kill twice would be quite interesting here in this series. Now, I do think though that Ariana in the Gwen is going to be even much more of a threat compared to the previous game, because previously he was playing a Shen against Bolivar and he got multiple solo kills and kills. This time around you're playing a Gwen. One solo kill would pretty much just destroy the whole game.
Yeah, I would agree with that. So solo kills can certainly swing the momentum of everything here. I do think, Ariana on the Gwen, this is more the kind of pick that I expect out of this guy, and I assume that Dorado expects out of this guy. I would think that when you pick this player up, you are doing it with the intent to get a little bit more carry tops in your team's champion pool. So I think this is certainly going to be a big center point of this comp. You got the double marksman, you've got the Wukong to be able to get fights started, but you can also just kind of play a kite back style and trust that Ariana can either come in huge on the flanks or even be a big threat in the side lane up against Neons on this Irelia. That'll be a fun side lane battle if they do ever get out of the laning phase in anything resembling an even state.
Yep, reaching that point probably would be pretty damning in some cases, especially here where you have the big difference. And then another part to really focus on, it's going to be the spot side, because there is a change on the side of SoL on how they want to play. Last game it was engage support and hyper late game AP carry, to put it like that, with the Seraphine waiting for her chance. This time around you're going AD for AD and Enchanter support for Enchanter support. Going to be a lot on who can get the better trades early on, and also who can just try and dominate the lane early as possible. Lucian Nami though will have a lot of damage, and I'm expecting Fatikan to take the ignite, so we can just get a pretty early first blood at level 2 down there.
Yeah, I think that's definitely in the cards, especially up against Ezreal. Janna does rely a little bit more on connecting some of that poke damage and the ebb and flow to keep the health bars topped off. Will definitely do a lot to keep Dorado in the lane and prevent Socrates and MCFC from, or actually it's probably going to be Kier. I do believe we are out of order on this one. It was Kier at support MCFC in the jungle last game, so I assume that will continue to be the case here, and that it will be Kier piloting this Janna with Socrates. But either way, poke damage, it can be dangerous when you have that Janna lane, but we'll be able to very likely sustain through it for Fatikan and Mixture.
I don't know why we had that in the previous game. Like, we saw how they didn't change positions. They had another game to go for it, and they still didn't change the only 2 positions. Like, it's the same 2 positions as well. I would assume you probably can mess up another one, but it's the same 2, just changing positions here.
Yeah. I mean, they might just be straight up changing positions. That's also possible. I'm just assuming that
maybe they play jungle.
We set up this scene with whatever order they were in lobby, and we haven't updated it. That's what I think is more likely, but we'll find out once we get on to Summoner's Rift for game number 2. Should be ticking down that timer. Hopefully be able to get into this one pretty short order. We'll see if SoL can keep themselves alive in this game for 20 plus minutes.
Yeah, that would probably be
rough showing from them in game number 1.
Objective. Like, lasting longer than 20 minutes would probably be the best thing for them, or the most ideal part for them to look for, lasting more than 20 minutes. After that, the rest. But if you can last the first 20 minutes, that's probably going to be the best.
Yeah, that'll be... So far, that was not the fastest game of the OQ so far, by the way. Did get word in between games that there was a 16-minute win by, I believe it was Cupid, if I remember that correctly, up against Butterfly Mansion.
At least it wasn't faster, though.
Yeah, they lasted. It was faster than Caster Low. This game was faster than Caster Low's game as well, I do believe. Dorado could try to bait that record. They could slam this game fast enough. I don't know if this is the comp I would choose to try to win the fastest game possible, but something worth considering.
So it would need to be 15-minute, right? Or below 16 minutes.
Yeah, 15 minutes and some change, I bet would get you there.
I don't think they can with this comp. Well, actually, maybe they can. They do have a Lucian, and if you get like 3 kills at level 1, at level 2 with Lucian, you probably just destroy the game.
You do. So that could be the option. We will have to move Kier and MCFC. So it does look like they are in the wrong order again. Yep. So we will shift them up on the scoreboard, and we will be all set to go for game number 2. Everybody moving down towards the bottom side. They are going to face check into Fatikan here. I do not think this is how you end up with the 3 kills at level 1 on Lucian. Fatikan going to back on away, knows that they are here, and there is a response invade from Kaido on the top side.
Are you sure it's not how this works? If they just all commit to try and kill Fatikan, maybe he just gets a kill.
True. There are some rules that are getting a little bit broken here. But SoL, they come through. They get a little bit of vision in Kaido's red side jungle. Kaido gets to respond in turn. Gets vision on the enemy red. And we'll be having that tracking information for MCFC.
Looks like they are going to try and kill here. Yeah, Kaido is in a spot to fight.
Yeah, Shochi stepping on up here, getting a little bit of nice damage on a Popo. Started W, didn't taunt anybody, and I think he's going down. It's first blood to Ariana on the Gwen.
1-0 start for the Gwen. Taunt started, taunt failed. Oh, that is going to be so painful for the side of as well. It's not only the fact that you failed the taunt, it's that now you start taunt against the Gwen early on, so you're not going to find like any measure to really put pressure up there in the top lane. But at the very least, Ariana has him backed, so it's not like he has capitalized on that level 1 kill.
Neons and Shochi exchanging blows here. Conqueror stacked for both parties. Neons goes back in, but is still at that range disadvantage, so gonna have to flash. Shochi flashed as well.
Yeah.
And they're getting on out of there as the laning phase is already starting to look rough for SoL.
Yeah, it's not a lot of SoL kill. It's 1 SoL kill or 1 kill in the top lane, but it's not the best way to start the game now. There's also no teleport on Neons, which means that he's going to miss this wave once again. Also in the bot lane, you're getting pushed into turret. Oh, Femboy.
Staying alive will end up dropping down to Fatikan. Now Fatikan's pretty deep in here. Can he get this recall off before MCFC finds him? And or can he get execute? It's a flash in from Kier with the tornado, and this is going to be a solo kill to the Janna. I'm pretty sure it is.
Yep.
Kier with the solo kill, joining Neons in that Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, not gonna lie, I don't think that's probably worth it, but for the sake of just being able to say I killed someone, it's extremely worth it. Already first kill for the support. Key is doing a really good job, and oh, Chochi.
You know, sometimes it's about finding your own win conditions, and SoL, I think, are pretty firmly in that territory as MCFC nearly goes down there. Shochi wishing he had that flash, but he did get the kill on the Neons.
Which is the win condition, actually? Is it Keys?
Well, I'm just saying it's like you got to consider getting a solo kill on Kier as winning. You can't.
Okay, fair enough.
You got to pivot
That's
away
true.
from destroy the Nexus, because that's not happening. But you know, you got to find some ways to pursue victory in other ways.
Yeah, true. Like maybe a 5-0 Janna can probably have a little bit more damage, or maybe the shields save lives. That can also be a thing. Now they did die in the mid lane. Sadly for Neon's, a pretty opposite start compared to the previous game where he wasn't dying at all and he got a solo kill already on. But now he essentially will be behind the Corki. And the Corki ahead can be scary, although he doesn't have necessarily a ton of damage. It's just that the Irelia has none at all. Oh.
Yep. Oh, Fatikan, the electrocute proc, finding a kill in the 2 versus 2.
It's great to play against Lucian Nami in that sense. And already Fatikan 2-0, 2-1, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good start for the Lucian. We talked about that as the condition. Ezreal's at 9 CS. So Socrates having a tough time in this laning phase. And this wave crashes in. Fatikan will be out of mana, so I think this is going to be a little reprieve for the SoL bot lane. It's going to be followed up with an even rougher position as Fatikan actually gets to spend these 2 kills worth of gold. But it will be a chance to actually get some CS now and get themselves a little bit more into the game.
Well, at the very least, closer to 30 than 11. Neons gets a stun. Maybe he does something. He has Ignite.
Yeah, the return fire from Shochi just a little too much here. I mean, he doesn't actually have additional damage, like you said, because it is the Tear the Goddess purchase. But Shochi doing a pretty good job in this lane, abusing the range advantage even more.
Oh, no.
And here is Kaido, camping mid as always. And that is going to be a nice cleaned up kill for Shochi. Valkyrie coming through with the extra damage.
That was good, at the very least, attempting to move around and dance enough so that you can try and attempt something, but it's not going to turn into a kill. Another kill, or finally a kill for Chochi, getting the plates as well, and now the discrepancy in the mid lane is going to be even more apparent.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be some actual money spent on actual damage items now for Shochi, which is certainly going to make things tough, as the damage out of this Lucian Nami is just ridiculous. MCFC is here, but I actually think they can 2 versus 3 this as another buff comes through onto the Lucian, finding it on the MCFC and picking up a kill in the 2 versus 3. Ariana looking for a kill in the 1 versus 1. Easy clean up for him. And Dorado Gaming setting up for the dive. This might very well be 4 kills cross map in the extended play.
They're taking long, so maybe they can actually know nobody's coming to save you. Oh no.
Oh yeah, Kier going to drop on down, a flash away from Kaido. Socrates hit by the bubble, and Fatikan gonna go on a killing spree.
Oh, maybe they can kill Oriana. He's alone here by himself, no ulti.
That's certainly a set of true facts. He does have a big advantage, though, dodging out on all the skills for this Galio. Snipping back, punched away, nice. Flash too late, and it's a shutdown for MCFC.
Yeah, first kill onto Oriana. This time around, they find it. Oh, wait, Neon?
Yeah, Shochi going to be able to find that kill. Solo Bolo once again. Neon's starting to get outpaced by this Corki.
Yeah, sadly not finding the solo kill attempts like he did in the previous game. Attempting really hard, he was doing his best job at pulling it off, but the 30 CS difference, or close to 30 CS difference, it's going to begin hurting sooner rather than later. And also in the bot lane, 4-1 Lucian, 30 CS deficit. Ouch.
Yeah, I mean, it's looking like game number 1 a little bit, I'm not gonna lie. I don't think that we expected too much different, but you know, sometimes your expectations are exactly correct, and they don't actually change from the pregame to the game itself. So this may very well be one of those days. And you know, you want to be correct in your analysis on the desk, but sometimes you do want some little unexpected events. But this might not be one of those cases. Kier,
Ooh, nice heal.
healing to stay alive, blows both summoners, but does survive. Fatikan committing the culling.
Yeah, they did blow flash and heal out of the Janna, and they also have a bubble here now. They cannot force onto Socrates just yet, but it's not going to be enough to try and force the kill. Ooh, nice stun.
Yeah.
Don't have the damage though.
Taking a bunch of damage in the one-on-one. Nice rocket barrage from Shochi.
Maybe when he has ulti, that probably can work out a little bit better, but the counter damage from Shochi is just that much strong, thanks to the fact that he does have more items and more damage in his pocket.
Yeah. So, Shochi kind of just wrecking this turret at this point, especially with the addition of those grubbies from his good friend Kaido. Did dragons even get taken last game? I think that kind of just fell to the wayside
but
to me.
two. They did, but they got like 2, and that's about it.
Yeah, and there will be a potential start from MCFC, but I think realizing correctly that, hey, Fatikan and Mixture could just walk up here. Oh my goodness.
Ooh.
The damage on Kier becoming an
tidal
issue.
wave.
Oh, tidal wave.
Oh,
All right,
not
Kier.
enough.
Heads up, gets out of the way. Nice try, Mixture.
Look, if he gets a SoL kill with that, probably would be hilarious, but it's not going to work out. Oh, but he still may die here.
Oh, there's Fatikan. Cleaning
Ouch.
up another one. Ardent Blaze kill. When was the last time you saw a non-AP Lucian get a kill off Ardent Blaze?
Hey, I've seen that you can max it and actually deal a lot of damage. Oh, not like this.
Yeah, the AP Lucian maxes it. It's actually very funny.
It is hilarious at Earth. I've played that in Earth, essentially, and it's hilarious to see. But like at the same time, it shouldn't deal that much damage comparatively. But he does have oh no, damn.
Oh boy, I mean, yeah.
Is that needed?
Is any of this needed? I don't think this series is needed. We called that out earlier, but format is what it is. 64 teams, got to fill out that bracket somehow.
Okay,
and,
so we need to. Do we have 5 more minutes potential here? Do we think they can win in 5 more minutes?
I don't think they're focusing the towers enough, but I could be wrong. I don't know. I mean, it is a Triforce and an Essence Reaver, so you do have the procs. Maybe
also Youmu's.
Oh my goodness! All right, maybe they can. I mean, Chochi's kind of tearing them apart. There's 13 kills between the 2 marksmen at 10 minutes and 30 seconds. I think if they full send it, all of them down mid, they could do it, but I don't know if they're gonna do that.
Herald is up. No, actually, it's not going to be up soon enough. And oh, Popo.
Charging back in. Ariana has the needlework. I mean,
it's not going to be enough.
Yeah, they're coming back out. So they are rotating their bot lane towards mid. If they full send it, I do think they have a chance at closing this out in 4 minutes. Oh, Popo with a solo kill.
Let's go. See, we needed this sort of thing. At the very least, a solo kill similar to the previous game. Popo finding it on their turret a little bit.
And hey, Kier already got one too. I mean, this is big stuff. And now Neon's diving in, trying out the 1 versus 2 for size.
Hey, he survived. I take that. That's a small victory.
Absolutely. Closing out on it to an inner turret here is Neon's, or not, sorry, is Fatikan and Mixture. They will get themselves an inner. Fatikan and Mixture now going to work on the mid inner turret. So, you know what? They're making pretty good time here, TDS. My answer remains maybe.
Yeah, this is probably one of those instances where if you had a betting like sponsor or a betting page for this, it would actually be the main focus on if they can win pre-15 or before or after 15.
Yeah, that's where I'm putting the line on, you know, pre or post 15 minutes. Oh, MCFC in there deep lands the cease and desist, but Fatikan will not cease. He will not desist, and he picks up a kill.
Well, the buy did cease to exist, so kind of working out as intended, I guess.
Yeah, I'm clearing out the wave. Fatikan and Mixture not stopping their push for anything here. Shochi moving top lane. I think really just shifting the odds towards going to be longer than 15 minutes.
Yeah, if they just come here, they probably...
Yeah, if you're trying to speed run this game, I think you are not even considering the top lane turrets. I think you are working on the turrets that you have.
Oh wait, Vatican is dead.
Whoa, okay. They managed to finish off Vatican there. Shochi, meanwhile, is just cleaning house in the top lane alongside Kaido.
Shochi trying to be the only AD carry of the game. The only AD carry that doesn't die in the game.
Yeah. And that would be a big comeback from last game, as did have some deaths in that one. Mixture unkilled as well, managed to back on away in a scenario where Vatican did drop. And this is going to be all turrets outside of the base taken as soon as Dorado finishes off, and these additional Sheen procs, plus the fact that this is lethality Wukong, looking like they will be able to do that no problem.
I'm actually kind of curious. I don't remember. In the previous game, did anybody don't die or didn't die from the side of DOG? I think
that's a good question.
Kaido didn't die, but I'm not sure.
I would believe that, but I do not remember. I was not checking.
Yeah, that's kind of the main question that I have now, because I was thinking if Mixture died, and he did die in the previous game. That was a lot of damage.
Yeah, will there be a perfect series from anybody is a good question. Oh, all in here onto Ariana.
Neon.
Neon's looking for a solo kill. No. Snipped it down. Needlework from Ariana. Turns it back, and MCFC cannot get past Vatican. Oh, but Socrates connects a true shot barrage, and Ariana drops for the third time.
And Shochi TP'd into the turret. He actually takes a bit of damage. Probably doesn't die, but...
He spoke too soon. Ooh. Getting out of there just in time. Socrates with no true shot barrage will not be able to clean up that one. Vatican running circles around him for a bit, but now he's in the 1 versus 4. Can he get out of here? Nope. Too much chain CC. MCFC gets a second kill this game, and Shochi on a sliver of HP. Can you save your support's unkilled streak? Looking like not. Oh, but the flash over the wall might give the space that Mixture needs. Here comes Kaido for the backup over the wall. Cyclone onto 2, but cannot stop MCFC. Will be a kill on a Mixture, and now Kaido might be in too deep as well. It's a TP in from Ariana. Snips down 1. Still no needlework available, but gets a double kill anyway. A turn back from Kaido to claim 1 back, and it's 3 kills into the pocket of Dorado.
Kaido didn't save Mixture there. That's bad teammate right there. He could have saved the life of the Nami and saved his KDA, but no, you had to go for the kills. Already smelling the disjointment in this team. Already looking like they are going to not be a good team together.
That's true. They're definitely, this is... I think you're getting real justified here when we talked earlier about, what comp will they draft against a team that they can confidently beat. Will it be a preview of what they look like? I think that went out the window pretty fast.
Literally.
I think this is not how they would like to play games against other contending teams.
You don't think the lethality Wukong would be the main choice against?
I don't think Kaido will play with lethality Wukong the rest of the weekend. I'll say that on record.
Maybe before he pulls it off in the next game.
We'll see. If he does, then I'll have to eat my words.
Oh yeah, by the way, we already lost the bet. They are past 16 minutes.
Yeah, we passed it. It was I knew it was over when Shochi went top lane.
That's all true, but maybe they can get before. Actually, was it 16 minutes and how much time? Because they are pushing here heavily.
I don't know. No Dancing Herald either. Oh boy, advancing forward onto Kier though. A lot of damage off of the electrocute, and Vatican will finish off the kill. MCFC going to full send it here. This is where SoL will make their stand, and they will not stand for long. Popo out of mana already somehow. Gonna get finished off by the culling, trying to stay alive thanks to the sustain of the fountain, but it just will not happen. Everybody pumping everything into Neons. Will they send it into the fountain? Try to get this kill. Needleworks coming out of Ariana, not quite finding their mark, waiting for another wave to come in through from mid lane. Respawns are pretty quick at 17 minutes. They are still kiting them out. They are still pumping out this damage. Look at Vatican evading everything for as long as he can, but finally a punch going to connect. That's going to be a double bubble out of Mixture to extend this game just a little bit further. Shochi's still staying alive, and Shochi will finish game number 2 deathless as will Kaido. 30-7, 17 minutes, 40 seconds, and Dorado Gaming will walk away with a 2-0 win in their first series of the OQ.
Yeah, he heard us criticizing him last game and certainly worked out. Shochi didn't die deathless this game, didn't die at all in weird situations that did happen in the first game. So a really good turnaround comparatively. And look at the damage, 23k, 26k on the side of Vatican. Really good job.
Dare I say it looks like game number 1, TDS. It's pretty similar across the board here. In the gold graph, in the damage numbers, and Dorado Gaming walking away with a 2-0. They will move on to the next round, which we will be getting in not too long. Novosphere Gaming Myth is up 1-0 over Hokage Esports. We will be covering the winner of that series in just a short bit. If Novosphere are able to close it out, we will get started very, very soon because it is a rolling start. If Hokage come up with a win and take it to game number 3, we are going to have to wait for that game number 3 to end. So between 10 and like 45 minutes, I would say. For how
That's
long?
a kind of a big margin, yeah.
It's a big margin. It depends on who wins out this series. So we will be taking a short little break here in not too long, but all in all, a pretty good first showing here for this new Dorado Gaming squad that we had not seen play together yet.
Yeah, exactly. 2 stomps, 2 good showings by their teammates. Certainly not the way that we're going to base them at all based on this game. Like, this is not our actual evaluation of the team. It's just like some fun games to see them stomp people, and that's about it. But the real test will start after, I would even say after the next one, but the next one probably is going to be their first actual initial steps.
Yeah, I mean, if it's Novosphere Myth, which we expect it to be, that is a team of all ACL players, at least. That is a team that is in ACL. They're keeping the same mid and bot lane. It's Magmore, Slamboy, and Rokid from Novosphere Myth. And then they are running Tapablo, who is on the Supernova Dark Matter roster, and Honest Abe, who is on the other Novosphere roster. So going to be a real matchup, against other players who at least you could run into in solo queue as Dorado players. So that'll be a fun matchup. We're going to be back with it. With likely it, I mean, it could also be an upset for Hokage Esports. We'll keep you updated. Stay tuned to Twitch chat to find out when we're going to be coming back. We'll update the timer as we have the ability to do so. Check out some of the other OQ streams going on around the community, and we will see you guys in a short bit as Dorado Gaming takes the rift for their second series today. Welcome back, everybody, to today's coverage of the NACL Open Qualifier here on Aegis, where we are following Dorado Gaming as they move on to their second round matchup against Novosphere Gaming Myth, some faces that we're familiar with from the ACL, TDS.
Exactly, players that we do know of, that we have seen, and that are no slouches. I would say one of the teams that can begin putting a threat onto the OG, Pablo and Dave McMurdo, this Lamboy, I'm not sure if I'm going to pronounce that right, and Rookie, players that we have seen that haven't had maybe the biggest success in the ACL, but at the very least have played at that level. So they can be something that the players from DOG have to at the very least try, because they do know these players.
Yeah, all players who have now been eliminated from the ACL, sorry guys, but
Yeah.
all players who did play in it this past split, Magmore, the Slam Boy, and Rokid, returning from the Novosphere Gaming Myth roster that played in ACL. Honest Abe playing on the other Novosphere Gaming roster, and Tapablo having played with Supernova Dark Matter. So all guys who we have seen getting reps at the uncapped competitive level, which is where they find themselves now in the Open Qualifier. Very uncapped, as we have learned. Not capped on top, not capped on bottom either. So
much more open.
Now moving on in, as two different top 32 teams will now face off up against one another. Novosphere Gaming actually at 33rd seed by my math, so maybe a little off on that one. But picks and bans coming on through thick and fast, and there will be the NACL lock-in for Dorado. I think most likely going for Mixture, if I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, surprised it goes into the NACL first pick, not because necessarily it's a bad pick for Mixture, but when still available, bars like you see pick there. Like, there were options to go for first pick here, and immediately going for the NACL means that they are extremely confident in the champion. Could also be quote-unquote flex, but the amount of times that we have seen that champion in the support already means that it kind of feels like a support champion at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be the craziest thing in the world to see Shochi pilot it. You know, the old school on-hit Nico top is kind of dead now, but I do like to have fond memories of it from time to time. That was a big Alorum pick back when I was first getting into the tier 3 scene. Not so much the case these days. Novosphere taking that Varus for the Slam Boy. And now going to be
Xinjiao.
looking for the Xin Zhao. That will be for Honest Abe in the jungle, presumably. Do remember from the Novosphere Gaming setup that... Ooh, all right, hang on. I'm going to put a pause on that right here. Kaido just got his Kha'Zix. Somebody call Quacks. He doesn't have any more games today, so he can definitely tune into this one, as this is the Kaido Kha'Zix in comp. A lot of Ks there. Is now going to be a Kalista locked in for Fatakan, so a very dangerous Kalista Nico lane for Dorado, plus Kaido on his best champ.
Yeah, pretty much taking out his best champ here to start it out. The Kalista Nico bot lane duo also going to be extremely bothersome to deal with, just because of the range and the potential to just be able to kill people quite quickly. The combo as well that you can bring forth thanks to the ultimate duo is quite nice. And then to close out the first round of picks, it's the Alistar trying to get a little bit of setup. If you have a lot of CC, you can enable this Varus and this Xinjiao to really find multiple opportunities. I'm guessing this is bound to be a Varus poke Varus, just because the 3 champions that DOG has are pretty squishy, and that the distance that you get it's going to be quite a deal to have.
Yeah, for sure. So the Alistar lock-in going to give them a little bit more defensive capabilities. I think it's good, especially against the Kha'Zix too. It's a champion you punt him out from the leap. He's not really getting back in there, at least for a while. So will be a good tool to have up against what's already been drafted here for Dorado, and also a champ with big enough AoEs and a little bit of selection based on the headbutt that you can't necessarily have everything dodged away from by a well-played Kalista, which is something you got to be concerned about coming out of Fatakan. Mid lane bans now for both sides. Shochi going to lose his Silas and Aurora. Talia taken off the board here.
And Ari.
And there's going to be Ari to round things out and further limit what Magmor can show us. Going to snap up that Victor.
Yeah, the Victor taken away here, you get the Wave Clear, you get a lot of the lane bullet potential as well that the Victor does bring, and then later in the game he's going to be a huge menace if he gets his way going into this game. Mid lane pool wise, they banned a lot of champions, but there's still a couple available. You still have the Yoni if you want to go for it. The Silas may be out, but there's also options like the Syndra and Orianna that, even though they are a little bit below in tier lists or in the list of some of the players, they still are serviceable enough to find quite a good value. Or this Galio that doesn't necessarily suffer a ton into the mid lane matchup, and then with the Kha'Zix, if he jumps in, you have the follow-up from the Galio, so the duo can be quite scary. And then the Gwen going all the way last, it's kind of surprising, but it ends up going here, and I'm guessing probably Mbessa last pick here for Novosphere. It's kind of looked as one of those counters for the Gwen where they early on in the lane you can kind of play it, or similar things to that, but it feels like it's bound to be the Mbessa. Maybe the Jace or K'Sante could be also the other options. And actually going for something more. Let's go.
Darius. All right. That's a Pablo Darius on R5 as an attempted counter pick into Ariana's Gwen. Certainly a dangerous selection there. So these two, I mean, somebody's coming out of this lane with a couple of solo kills, if I'm being honest with you, TDS. And it's going to definitely have some big snowball potential in either direction, depending on who's able to come out of this lane on top. Definitely a little bit more scaling threat here for Ariana, but we've seen how dangerous he could be on this Gwen. Certainly one of his favorites in the current meta. The counter pick from Pablo, though, a chance to try to set that one very far behind.
Exactly. You get a lot of chances here thanks to this Darius, though. It is going to be a matchup where if you fall behind early on from both sides, it's going to be really suffering, though, because like these champions are forced into trying to go for those early leads as much as possible, but you do have a better late game for the Gwen compared to the Darius. One of the good saving graces, though, that Darius will have this game is the fact that essentially all champions are really close space. Like they have to go in your face to be able to deal damage. So having this Darius, essentially don't be kited out. It's going to be the best thing possible for Pablo. But it's a champion that if you fall behind, your value goes way down comparatively.
Yeah, for sure. If you start to fall behind in this matchup, it is really going to make things incredibly difficult for you going into the later game. Dorado, with a couple of lanes to play through for Kaido's Kha'Zix, something to be on the lookout for is being able to get priority. I mean, they have the Nico Kalista bottom lane, so you can trust that they're going to be able to get the push there. And Shochi in the early levels before Magmor is able to upgrade the laser will have that capability as well. So looking to see if Kaido's going to be able to make some invades happen and more importantly, making sure that Honest Abe isn't going to be able to find him and disrupt some of his early clear before he can really get going.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be important seeing it, being able to find those sort of things, and that dynamic where you probably are going to be more active on one side of the jungle compared to the other. Like I won't lie, I'm not extremely burst on Kha'Zix like someone like Quax is, but I do think that this is probably not going to be a game where the Kha'Zix is going to actively look to gank. I'm expecting him to try and be a duo with Shochi as soon as they both hit level 6 and try and make it so that you can make plays all around the map. Because his damage is going to be nice enough, but his body with the Galio to try and just be a dive duo or a thread going into the side lanes is going to be much more ideal, and that's where I'm expecting Kaido to really shine. We're on a safe with the Xinjiao, get early ganks going, try and put pressure onto the easy to kill lanes, and also onto the lanes that can go 50-50, like this to Pablo Ariana lane.
Absolutely. So a really volatile top lane matchup, I think. That's really going to be a lot of our focus here. You got to believe that Honest Abe is going to try to get to Pablo going. Kaido with a chance to maybe turn things around, but I got to believe that 2 versus 2 is so strong for Novosphere Gaming. You kind of have to put faith in Ariana to be able to play kind of responsibly here. Make sure that he doesn't get set up into a position where he's going to get super dove, at least not until Shochi can hit level 6 and come in to help out with the grand entrance.
Yeah, that grand entrance, we saw something, or we didn't see what I was expecting to see in the previous game, obviously because of how big of a stump it was, but the grand entrance value here is going to be immense, because it's going to be one of the tools to not only make engages happen, but also to essentially make 1v1s into 2v1s, or make the state of the map just be in your favor by having the most members. That's why I also think Dorado will try and play away from Shochi, in the sense that he will try and be as far away as possible, and whenever fights happen or anything like that, he can come in with the grand entrance and be that enabler. He's also essentially going to be the main tank of the team. He's going to be soaking a lot of the damage, so it's important for him to be not only well positioned but also ready to react in those instances, to be the one that takes the full brunt of the damage, because the other members are extremely squishy in comparison.
Yeah, for sure. So a big game at number 1 here for Novosphere Gaming Myth. If they feel like this Darius counter pick can take them over the edge, it would be a big advantage to have in a series that is fearless, where Dorado have gotten some of their strongest, most aggressive picks. I think if you could turn the early game back against them, if you can find some success in the top lane here, if you can survive against Fatikan and Mixture in the bottom lane as well, these are all pretty big asks.
True.
But I do think Novosphere scales into this game quite effectively and can really set themselves up into a good position if they're able to navigate that early game very well. So eyes on Honest Abe in the jungle and what he's going to be able to get done with his first couple of clears. If he can get creative here, if he can find a way to either punish Kaido or set his lanes ahead, I think that's going to be a real good game for Novosphere Gaming Myth.
Yeah, this really feels like the first time we're actually going to see a jungle matchup that will have a lot of impact in both sides, where both teams can really get ahead or fall behind depending on how the jungler will react to this game, especially because there's lanes that I feel like are going to be uninteractive, like the mid lane. Well, top lane is probably going to be fighting, but I don't expect a lot of blood or death, just because Orianna will try and not be as aggressive against Darius. Not 100% sure on how the matchup should go, but I'm guessing I'm guessing it's probably the Darius being the more aggressive one in here and trying to put pressure onto the Gwen. And then on bot lane is where I really expect to see most of the action, because if Vatican can get ahead, if this Kalista Nico duo can become really strong, diving into the back lane is going to be one of the few ways, or one of the main ways actually, for Dorado to force the fights. And you want to have a strong Nico, strong Kalista, and Shochi ready to follow up on that.
Yeah, so Gwen with a positive win rate up against Darius, it looks like, according to the stats site that I am looking at. But definitely still a counter pick. After normalizing both champion win rates, Gwen wins against Darius 2% less than would be expected. So a faint advantage for the Darius lane, especially if you're able to pilot it correctly. And you got to remember, a lot of those statistics kind of go out the window in pre-made comp. They get drowned out by people in solo queue not knowing their champions. There's counter picks that people in the competitive scene certainly feel very strongly about that maybe do not represent that way in solo queue statistics.
Exactly. It's going to be those difference between when you play actual like high level competitive play or when you play solo queue. The discrepancies are big. The difference between translating one thing into the other is also big. And the difference in teammates also has a huge impact. Whenever you have communication involved, your teammates can make a difference in bad matchups. Even if you play a pretty slanted matchup in one way, one good jungle gank, one good support gank, one good play from your team can really deviate that sort of difference and make it so that that champion can actually be useful. So it's kind of difficult to measure that sort of difference just off base of the SoL queue. We always have to take that with like just pinch it on the side and see if it actually works or not, like that.
Yep, heard us load in there. Do think we might have a pause before we're going to be able to get started, so we'll
say whatever you want to say about the lower tier teams, but at the very least they didn't pause.
So got ourselves a couple of minutes here before we are really going to be able to get started, but it's going to be an exciting matchup. Lots to talk about for top, lots to talk about for jungle. I think Shochi's probably going to be back on wave clear duty, maybe more shades of the Annie game than the Corki game this time around. And you got to respect that here. I think he's got some really, really strong supporting casts on this team, especially for an OQ. Ariana, going to be a really strong carry top laner. Fatikan, I think one of the best AD carries outside of the NACL in the region right now. So definitely like to see him kind of putting some faith in them, playing some more supportive characters like the Galio, and trusting that his side lanes will be able to execute. I think that's a good boon to have. I think you can really have threats from any lane on this Dorado gaming team. That's part of what sets them up to be one of the favorites.
Yeah, setting up actually, and just speaking a little bit on Fatikan, right? Like the amount of like good things that were said about him and the way that he has played so far, I mean, all year long has been quite good. So it's fully understandable why you can see him as being one of those top prospects outside of the NACL, and may end up joining the NACL soon enough, be it with Dorado or be it with another team. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if there's any other teams that do take them in, especially if we see like more collegiate teams going into the NACL. Kind of difficult to see, but if it eventually happens, that can be another option as well.
Yeah, I think these players came in to compete in collegiate. Fatikan, maybe a little bit between worlds right now, but we'll see what the future holds for him. Ariana still at Grandview, who were able to find quite a bit of success in the Midwestern Conference. Going to see what their SoL futures look like over in the Midwest Conference as well, coming into next year's SoL. But hopefully going to be able to get this game started here pretty soon. Does look like we had some disconnects, a couple of players, so I'm going to have to wait to be able to get them back on in before the game can begin in earnest. And it feels like we've kind of blown right past Slamboy and Rokid and what they're going to have to deal with down here, but this is a very aggressive lane from Fatikan and Mixture that you're going to have to be on top of your game to avoid going down to.
Yeah, they opted into having to deal with the double range support or AD carry support bot lane, which is not necessarily a bad thing. You typically see the engage supports playing into this completely fine and taking it the front completely. But I'm surprised that they didn't even try to like maybe go for something like Renata, especially considering how front going the composition from Dorado is. Renata Varus is not a bad combo, and I think probably could have worked out really nicely here. But the Alistar probably more comfortable for Rokid in that sense, and does give them a little bit of the tankiness that they were lacking in some of their members.
Yeah, really does. So Rokid on the Alistar going to be playing frontline this game. If he's able to hold targets down, if he's able to get the lockdown combos on through, set up for the Slamboy, set up for Magmore, they really can lock down targets for quite a while on this team. There's a lot of damage threats to be concerned about on the Dorado side, though, and these are a couple of immobile carries facing down Kaido's Kha'Zix, Kaido being one of the foremost Kha'Zix mains on the server. So that definitely has to feel a little dangerous if you're Magmore and the Slamboy. Rokid and Honest Abe going to have to be playing defense duty, especially Rokid, trying to make sure that Kaido does not get to sink his claws into some of those squishy targets.
But he may fall into a situation where he's focusing too much on Kaido, and then out of nowhere, then Nico comes in and ultis 5 people. So his job is going to be difficult this game. He has multiple people to try and push away that he needs to push away, and one bad push or one mistimed CC chain or anything like that can turn into the team getting completely wiped because of how much ultimate value there is on the side of Dorado Gaming. It's kind of scary to think about if you're playing as the Alistar this game, but your job is not going to be only tanking or setting up your team. It's also being able to peel for your team very well.
Yeah, it really is here. So still waiting on these DCs to work themselves out. Need to have 10 players on the map to be able to play a proper game of League of Legends. Well, looking to see we will be able to get these players back on in here sooner rather than later for the much anticipated Ariana Tapablo matchup. I am happy to have Tapablo back in the scene, by the way. This guy was around a couple of years back, but was absent for most of 2023, I do believe. So it's good to see him here and competing. His time with Supernova Dark Matter cut a little bit short. So they did FF. They had an opportunity to make the playoffs, but looks like those players pretty much all prioritize getting some extra reps in with their separate OQ teams. So coming back on in here, going to be looking to see if they can make good on the experience gained in that ACL. Try to find themselves a more successful OQ run for it.
Yeah, ideally trying to make themselves even more desirable for the top OQ teams or for future teams as well. And we have to consider, technically, for a lot of these players, it's all about getting higher up in the OQ rankings for the better teams to be able to notice them, because like realistically there's a difference in expectations, right? Top OQ teams, their expectation is qualifying. Above average to near the top teams is to maybe qualify, but also upset those teams and try and put themselves in a better standing. And then the lower rated teams, there is always going to be try and get the best chance for your players to get the best showing, and that way keep on climbing kind of the stairs of the OQ ladder. So it's going to be important seeing how they can perform and who is going to be the next big thing, to put it like that, really, to look out for.
Yeah, okay, so it does look like we've had power outage that we're dealing with,
of course,
on the Novosphere side. So they're going to wait on the pause for a little while until they're going to be able to get out of that. Let's throw it to a quick break here while we figure out when we're going to be able to get back into this game. But we will be back as soon as possible to start off game number 1. Welcome back, everybody, to today's broadcast, the NACL qualifiers, where we thought that we would have to have an emergency substitute in for Pablo, but his power came back on, so we remade the game, and we are back on to Summoner's Rift for game number 1. It's as though nothing's ever happened.
Yeah, it's like we just took a couple of minutes to prepare for what this game will end up being. I'm assuming it's going to be a bloodbath and the best game in the OQs, so I'm expecting that now.
Yeah, so thank you, everybody, for sitting tight while we waited. And we do get the matchup that we were originally promised. Hopefully nobody's gotten unwarmed up during the break, as Rokid going to find two of them here. Slamboy looking for something, but Shochi has snuck in behind. Does start off with the Justice Punch, forces the flash out of the Slamboy. It'll be a trade, flash for flash.
Yeah, but it's his flash for his Slamboys, and he also started Justice Punch, which means that he will have a bit of a harder time trying to make a lot work out as, Slamboy.
Gonna be a nice little extra chunk of damage on the Slamboy here. And Fatakan going to use the early rend just to keep that health bar low. It is a tough position for Varus, already in a difficult matchup.
Yeah, it's not going to be the best thing possible here. A little bit of trading, but not going to work much. And Pablo also trading up here in the top lane. It's kind of equal until the passive comes through and you actually see how low the health bar from the Gwen gets. But all in all, pretty just a standard all around the map. I think the most important deficit is going to be obviously that bot lane one. Flash down, and then also you were forced to use your pod really early on. So any trade that goes into favor of the OG is going to stick even more. Orianna.
Oh, nice hook in from Pablo, who takes level 2 first. And Flash will be forced out of Ariana there. So good start from the top laner on his fresh new internet connection, getting himself that early advantage.
Difference maker right there. As a little bit of a going forward, not going to amount to much damage onto the cow, but it is going to be a lot on Fatakan. And also now with Slamboy back here, fully back to full health, that means that they will more than likely be able to deal a little bit better with this Kalista. Still, the lane is clearly in favor of Fatakan and Mixture.
Yeah, I mean, cost him a lot, though, in terms of XP and gold, down about a wave and a half now. And will just be a recall from Fatakan here, nice and early, be able to get themselves that dagger and that refillable potion for just a little bit of extra combat power.
Yeah, able to make a little bit more damage onto the Varus and onto the Alistar. Also important with the way that the wave is going forward, pushing into the turret a little bit more, and the fact that we have Kaido as well hovering the bot side, this could turn into a potential play down there. Kalista just arriving now, the Scuttle Crab about to spawn. They are moving down there, trying to maybe put pressure here.
I mean, the wave is pushing in towards them, so Slamboy and Rokid, a tough call to make. They're going to move up into the river, so it's going to be Kaido leaving them be for the time being, but now they kind of have no choice. They have to either push up or abandon the wave, and Rokid, taking a lot of abuse here, going to be forced to flash out. Really good setup on the wave from Fatakan and Mixture.
Yeah, no flash here. Remember, Orianna.
Could very well be first blood here. Not very many places to go. Does get underneath the turret. Honest Abe, thinking about the dive, thinking better of it, though. Ariana will stay alive.
Yeah, interesting there, because of the timing that Ariana popped the mist, there was not enough follow-up to be able to get the slow or to get the knock-up onto the Gwen. It turned out that they couldn't get the kill, as a lot of damage here. Varus may die. He has a flash.
This is going to be a 2-on-2 kill. First blood to Fatakan and Mixture in the 2-on-2. Continuing to apply pressure, forcing the Varus and Alistar out too far. Eventually, they run out of resources and they go down first.
Yeah, the worst possible start for this Varus. No flash, down a kill now, down a good amount of CS as well. This is only going to turn even harsher on them, because this Kalista is going to become such a pain to deal with. And the fact that the Nico as well is getting ahead means that you can find that combo that we're talking about in draft. The Nico-Kalista duo just jumping into the backline and trying to pop them up really quickly with Shochi's ultimate. It's going to be even more damning now.
Well done by Fatakan and a Mixture to start things off in game number 2, or game number 1 of their second series, I guess I should say. They do get themselves that early kill. About a 1k gold lead all in all to Dorado from this early stage. A nice CS lead for Shochi in mid lane as well. Something to be respected is Kaido looking to take advantage of that on a little bit of an invade. Gonna find Honest Abe on his birds and see if he can steal it away. He's actually trying to take the fight here. Knows that Abe is isolated. Here comes the backup from Shochi, and Shochi claims it with the heroic entrance. 2-0 start for Dorado as level 6 is taken by Ariana. Going to take advantage of that chance to move in up against Pablo. Flash is blown, and Pablo with a solo kill stacks up the hemorrhage and picks up the kill.
Yeah, and really well played by Pablo, by the way. There flashes into the... Okay, that was a little bit sad to see.
Yeah, Slamboy's dead too. That's a double kill.
Yeah, but going back to that top lane play, that was so well played by Pablo because he flashes into the wave to get the level 6 to be able to kill the Gwen. Gwen had no flash, we need to remember that, so being able to follow up was easier after reaching that level 6 mark. But if he stayed closer to the Gwen instead of flashing to try and get that level 6 advantage, he probably dies before that. So really smartly done, really well played, and at the very least salvaging something from all the chaos in the map.
Yeah, aggressive play across the board from Dorado here with their early game focused composition, and it is paying off big time in the bot lane where Fatakan and Mixture are now 3 2-on-2 kills deep in this matchup. Ariana though getting follow-up ganked here and finding himself punished for being in a rough matchup up against the Pablo's Darius. Pablo starting things off 2-0.
That's pretty hard, bad for the side of Ariana, because not only does he end up dying there in that situation, oh, there's a collapse on the back.
Ooh, nice flash from Fatakan, though. Dodges out on the pulverized headbutt combo from Rokid. Here comes Kaido. Big chunk of damage out of Fatakan. Uses the barrier to stay alive. Slamboy looking to finish him. No can do, though, as Mixture locks him down, and Kaido finishes him off.
Yeah, Mixture stealing the kill there. Probably much better to give it to Kaido, but you know what? It's fine. The support also deserves some gold occasionally. Oh.
We find
Abe actually follow up here.
Just trying to do his clear, by the way. Abe not even trying to get involved on this play, but Kaido's presence, he's going to get forced out of this side of his jungle.
Yeah, he knows that he cannot try and go for the 530 or even taking the blue buff here. There is a smite on both of them. Actually, yeah, there is smite on both of them. Oof, really
claimed by Kaido, stolen away, and Rokit now going to take a big chunk here. Dive forward, gets the knockup, but Mixture's here for the backup. Rokit falling lower and lower. Kaido doesn't drop. It's 1-for-1 so far. Shochi's in the middle there, getting the taunts onto multiple members. Fatakan throws in Mixture. Mixture is blown up by the Chaos Storm. It's a double kill back to Honest Abe. Shochi trying to close it out. Flashes away, punches back in. Still can't claim anybody. It's a triple kill to Honest Abe.
Not gonna lie, a little bit of an int there from the side of DOG. They had complete control of that situation, and they decided to engage when there was no members close by. I think Justice or Hero's entrance just is now off cooldown. Just now. If they had that initially, probably the play works out much better. But questionable there. Pablo actually is a 2v2.
Oh my. Isolated damage. What a heal from Pablo! He turns it back around! Decimate doing its namesake there as Dorado Gaming fall behind!
Yeah, Dorado just entered their little way. Not gonna lie there, they just kind of entered their little way. The previous play was bad. This, I think it's more understandable because if you catch Pablo off guard here and you kill him, you can turn around the situation. But now, 4-0 with the Darius. 0-3 Gwen in the top lane. You also gave up your lead in the bot lane essentially, even though there's still quite a good advantage for Fatican, but mid lane is ahead, jungle is ahead, top lane is ahead. The only place that you can take advantage of is Lamboy, but he's already 0-3.
Well, they will take advantage.
More gold.
Oh, another flash to stop from getting punted underneath the turret. They're going to go for the redive here. They're going to let Shochi
this is good.
Take the aggro. No unbreakable will available. Doesn't get the minions killed in time to take level 6. And it's another 2 kills into Fatakan.
Yeah, killing Justice Lamboy is not that good. Or not that worthy. Because like he doesn't give that much gold anymore. But killing the Alistar plus the plates, it is actually worth in this situation. Recovering a little bit from the previous play. And now the game is going to be Darius against the Kalista. Something similar to what we had yesterday in our ACL matchup. Kind of funny.
Yeah, certainly the case here. Ariana just can't get away from these kinds of games, but now going to get himself onto the board. Picks up his first kill of the game on the Gwen. We'll appreciate that little injection of gold, and so taking Magmore off the map to stop his scaling.
You know what? One kill for Oriana here, really nice, getting himself back a little bit into the game, able to collapse onto the bot side plate, and knowing that there's not enough plates down there, they send the Kalista and the Nico up their top side to try and respond to that amount of gold. There is also the grubs to consider, so it's something for them to try and look for. But so far, at the very least, it is a bloody game, and both sides can really make it work out for them.
Sure can. Kaido out of the map. Umbral Glaive completed, so gonna have some of that extra vision control here. As Vodka and Mixture heading out of lane. Mixture posing as a minion. You know what's you know what I love about this combo, by the way? Nico can turn into the little Callista ghosts, and they're real fast.
She can?
Yes, Nico can turn into the Callista ghosts.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, so that is I don't know if there'll be any use case for it in this game. They are faster than minions, I do believe. So it's a fun little interaction you can do.
This is pretty bad for Slamboy.
Yeah, he's dead.
Yeah, bye-bye.
They're going to give that one to Kaido. Ariana getting dove on the opposite side. It's just as easy for Pablo, who has 5-0 now.
So who gives more gold? Actually, can we know who gave more gold in that play? I think it's
almost
probably
certainly Ariana, who got a kill back just recently.
Shochi's quite fast, but he's
I mean, he can't finish this off, though. Not with Rokid here, although it is a approach from Kaido. Rokid gonna punt him out. Shochi taking a fair bit of damage here. The ignite from Rokid making a difference. Honest Abe over the wall claims a kill onto Shochi. Kaido gonna be able to even it up. Batakan still making life difficult for old Slam Boy here. Nice combos with the Rend, and I don't know if Kaido's gonna be able to get out of this. He's gonna look for the execute.
Yeah, he didn't even get the execute.
Nice to Magmore. Oof.
Yeah, that's painful there. Gets the kill to Magmore. In an attempt at trying to go for a much more advantageous play in the mid lane, they get collapsed on really badly, that situation. And once again, the thing is, I'm not against them killing Slamboy consistently, because it is gold technically, but the problem is that that gold is not becoming more. Like, it's not a huge amount of gold that you're getting. It's just something extra. And yeah, now Magmore is here. Any dive attempt is going to be stopped. And on the other side of the map, Oriana may be collecting some gold from the farm, but he's still really far behind. This game is completely dependent on both Vatican, Shochi, on Vatican, Shochi, and Kaido, because Oriana is going to be a non-factor.
Ooh, TP interrupted.
Like this.
Ariana now locked into a one-on-one with Rokid. Gonna probably take a fair bit of his health, but Pablo is in the area, so will not be a solo kill opportunity. Just a nice little tempo play by Rokid there. Sacrifices some of his health bar to keep Ariana from recalling.
Yeah, we'll end up recalling there, and will be collected by the Vatican Nico duo. So they are going to stop this here. Dragon also spawning in 8 seconds. That's probably the place where they are going to try and look to fight with. But with the lead that they have right now, 4 members, actually 5 members strong down there in the bot side for Novasphere, they actually want to commit and try and play.
Ooh, full lock in, but pulled away. Fatikan able to save Mixture's life. That will be the Chains of Corruption traded. But full force down here for the Dragon. Novasphere should be able to get this no problem. It will be in trade for first turret top lane, which Ariana should be able to clean up no problem.
And first turret top lane, first turret of the game, essentially, if they get that up there. And for Ariana, getting that gold is going to be extremely ideal. Finally able to get some lone time without really having to consider if he's going to get killed or not. And with Kaido also hovering, maybe they can try and attempt something up there. Now, bot side is controlled by the side of Novasphere Gaming. They have multiple members down there, but I don't think they're going to try and look for a dive play, although they are going down.
They're looking for it, but the recalls are coming through just a little too fast here. Mixture and Fatikan are already both out of there. So it will come down to the objectives for who wins out on feats. Do remember, feats are stronger this patch than they have been historically. Oh, actually, they have the feats.
I think
Dorado got 3 kills first. I'm crazy.
Yeah, they got the 3 first kills plus the turret.
Yeah, so Dorado do get the feats. They get the upgraded boots. They'll be purchasing the tier 3 boots at some point this game, you've got to believe. And that is what makes those actually matter now. So getting the 3 kills earlier, certainly going to pay off for them. Rokid, caught and poked by Mixture, does already have that rocket belt completed. That's the benefit of getting some of those kill credits. I do think Ariana's going to die here. Honest Abe is on the cutoff. They're sending in TP. They're going to full send it on to Pablo here. That
Wait,
was
the TP got
Mixture, I believe.
Oh, Tobalo failed.
All right, there's going to be the dash in. They're going to be able to get the knock-up out of 2 members. Good damage here. Fatakan looking to finish to Pablo. Finally able to do it. Rokid going to fall as well, but actually stays alive with just a sliver. And Honest David Magmore now pinching Fatakan up against the wall. He's going to try to dance his way out of this one. Going to have to dodge. Here comes Lightning. Picks up the Alistair. Dash in from Honest Dave. Fatakan trying to fight it out. Will fall down.
Yeah, crucially there, Slamboy actually stops the teleport from Shochi. That's why it ends up being just the Shochi not being able to arrive there. He's not going to die here, so it is going to be another kill for them. But, okay, something happened. But just quickly talking about, Pablo actually kind of messed up all that play. Oh,
wait, did we lose? Did OBS crash?
Did we die? Did somebody die?
The stream is still going.
Yeah, so it's only
so I
on
hope
us.
we can still be heard. Okay. All right, we're good.
Okay,
something happened, but we're good now, I think.
Kind of funny, but
well, we may have to all right, we'll be back.
Funny the game.
Okay, we had a power flicker, but I think, are we back? Are we live? We never stop being live.
Okay, that's kind of funny.
Okay, we lost a monitor. I'm gonna get in. I guess here. I'll go into the Discord spectate. I think we're here though. We're still here.
So on the spectator, holy. Yeah, technically.
All right.
Should be fine.
Yeah, I can't see anything, unfortunately, so we're gonna figure that out as soon as we can.
This is what happens when we depend on electricity.
Okay, I got it. I got game feed, baby. We're back.
Yeah, and somebody's about to die, or not?
Yeah, well, all right. Okay, I don't think we missed very much. And I believe that the stream could see the game the whole time, so even if they didn't have our riveting commentary, they are still able to get a good vibe of what was going on. Picking up where we left off, still a lead for Dorado.
It's good thing that Dorado, like nothing happened there for Dorado, because first of all, we're kind of covering them, so it's good that we don't miss anything from them. And also importantly, they still have a lead. They still have a really strong Fatican, and it's going to be a Mountain Soul, so they need to be able to get that. They will fight for that in the coming Dragons. But so far, good showing as well from Novosphere. To Pablo and Honest, they really are putting the carry pants as hard as they can.
Oh, double knock-up connecting for Mixture, and Magmore will nearly get taken down for it. Will be able to waltz away. That is second evolution Void Spikes, by the way, for Kaido, the Kha'Zix connoisseur himself. Will be able to get a little bit of extra poke damage off of that one.
So it is ultimate down for the Nico for now. I think it should be back up completely for the Dragon, as Honest Ape smite a little bit earlier, and Oriana gets locked in a little bit, but nothing big is going to happen. And this is something that we talked about, how they are playing away from Shochi. So the objective is on one side, Shochi is on the other, and they can try and make the most out of the hero's entrance. So they need to try and get a little bit more control over this part of the map. But the vision control from Novosphere is really good. They have multiple wards inside of the jungle. They have a lot of vision down here for this Dragon. And they know that as long as they can take control... Oh, wait, Markmar?
Oh, diving underneath the tower, gets the knock-up on towards Magmore, and Fatakan walks away with another kill. Has to dance out of this Chaos Storm, though. He doesn't want to give the gold back. Will be able to barely escape.
Yeah, wait. Oriana may be dead here.
Ariana taking a fair bit of damage here in the 1 versus 2. Still does have access to that Rift Maker, but I don't think it's enough to survive against the Pablo. The burn off the bleed will take him down. Meanwhile, Kaido found Slam Boy in the top lane, and it's a cross-map race for who can get more objectives.
Yeah, they are getting Dragon down there, plus the kill that they got, plus the turret. But they also killed Slam Boy with Magmore. They killed the top lane tier 2 turret, and more than likely can get this top lane, this mid lane tier 1 turret, although teleport is coming by Magmore. Shochi.
Shochi in the 1 versus 2, gonna try to waltz this one out. Has Kaido at his back. Taunt comes on through. Finds its way on to Honest Abe. Shochi still taking a fair chunk of damage. There's the Crescent Guard for the extra damage, and Honest Abe finishes him off. claims themselves an extra kill and will take Novasphere into the kill score lead, still 1k gold down overall.
Yeah, also this will mean that they can try and put a little bit of pressure onto this mid lane turret, but the game is extremely close in what they are looking for. Like, objectives are going left and right for both sides. They both are finding opportunities to be as far ahead as they can, but also to try and take away from anything that the other team wants to do. And it's clear that there's multiple some members that are ahead on both sides, but the gold value that Novasphere has with this to Pablo is really, really good.
Yeah, backing on off. There's
Escape.
going to be a little rocket belt away from Mixture. Both summoners down, rocket belt down, but Mixture does manage to stay alive. And this is a closer game than I think we were anticipating, TDS, but happy to get it here on day number 1. Dorado finding themselves on the back foot a little bit here, and despite their gold lead, 3 minutes 30 seconds, they're going to be playing for SoL on the Novasphere side, and they're going to get a shot at it 30 seconds before Baron spawns, so can't even try to do a cross map. Novasphere is actually starting off the Otacon, and Dorado have no idea it's happening.
Yeah, no, even Ariana teleported up topside, so either they don't know that it's happening or they didn't care that it's happening because they send everyone up here. They want to play for the other side apparently, and it's not really working out in their favor. They are going to lose the objective. They are not really going to find anything on the tier 3 either, because it looked like, yeah, Pablo is backing away, so he's just going, actually no, they are stopping that. So they are giving up the space to maybe get to onto the tier 3 from the side of
that XP lead now given over for this. Look at Magmore and Pablo. They now find themselves the level advantage off of those bonus pedals. Still Ariana in the side lane, gonna take down an inhibitor turret. He's gonna sacrifice his life to try to get the inhib. He will not get it. Slamboy gonna be able to stay alive. Magmore claims that kill. They did commit Chains of Corruption and Chaos Storm for that, but it'll be back up in time for the Dragon. So Honest Abe now in a 1 versus 3, unadvisable, will drop for that. Dorado Gaming cleaning up gold across the map in trade for the Thornbound Otacon.
Yeah, that death by Honest Abe is extremely not worth it. That was a shutdown. The turret is fine if you give it up. At this point of the game, tier 1 mid lane turret is really not that valuable when you think about it. But giving up the shutdown plus the turret gold to the Kalista, particularly the only champion that really will be able to hyper carry fights, it's not the best choice ever. And Ariana's choice up there in the top side, I'm not fully against it just because it's something that we talked about before. Ariana is not worth gold anymore. Like, he's not actually worth that much gold anyway. So dying in that situation, it's not completely useful compared to getting that tier 3 turret for how you want to set up the map play. So I'm not against him dying like that in that situation. Where Honest Abe said, I think it's completely unnecessary. It's really, really just a random death.
So yeah, I mean, you definitely didn't want to lose Honest Abe there. I don't think it has any real meaningful impacts because there's no objectives on the map. Kind of creating, I just saw a tweet from LS earlier complaining about like the 5 minutes of dead time between every dragon spawn that comp play has now. This game certainly hasn't had what I would call dead time, but there definitely is a little bit of that. Pablo getting collapsed on. Meanwhile, Mixture caught on the opposite side. Pablo took down Shochi. And it's a 4 versus 3 on the map. Novasphere with the advantage.
Yeah, Novasphere has more members, but Dragon is up in 50 seconds, so it's not like they're going to be able to find anything just yet. Like you were mentioning, the kills do not lead to anything. The gold is the only thing that they do get, but realistically, Slamboy doesn't get the gold. The gold does go to Honest Abe, but he already was kind of far ahead. And another shutdown goes to Patakan. He actually gets 2 components of the kill from Pablo. As I know. He should be fine.
Yeah, so he does manage to escape. Will be able to stay alive. Now 23 seconds to go until Dragon. Pablo gonna be late to this. So we'll see what Novasphere want to do. A chance at a team fight. This would be SoL for them. Slamboy trying to land some of this harassment. Doesn't even have the Muramana. He's super close though. If he can auto attack this wave for a few seconds, he can get to Muramana. That'll be a big difference. He needs 9 more mana.
I think they rushed this. I just think they rushed this.
Yeah, Dorado starting it off, and it doesn't look like Novasphere are going to challenge for it. They're going to try to pick up the turret instead. They will be able to claim that one. And now moving up towards Baron, they don't want to challenge for that one either.
So they do have a good Baron damage dealing team thanks to the Darius and the Xinjiao, but it's not going to be the quickest Baron either. So it does take a little bit for them to try and set it up. And they have control here from the mid lane. Yeah, it's going to be tier 2 more than likely in favor of the side of Novasphere. Oh, the angle.
Kaido on the flank. Mixture still hovering around, threatening to go in as well. Pulled out by Fatakan. They will launch him back over towards the other side. Kaido found by Abe. Going to be forced to jump on away. It is another turret to Dorado. This is Mixture getting caught out in the mid lane, trying to get that space away. He actually, wait, did Mixture just trigger Youmuu's?
I don't think so. That would be hilarious, but I don't think so. There's no.
They don't even have. Kaido doesn't even have Youmuu's, so I'm not sure where that movement speed boost came from. But
Aaron started. Kaido's on the back though.
Yeah.
And I think they have. So they don't have vision here. They don't have members nearby.
It. They're aware that it's going on. No ward, it looks like. Going to scout out with the Void.
Too late.
Spikes and will not find it. Now Kaido going to see if he can pick off stragglers on the other side. Getting some good damage here off of the Void Spikes. Needs to fall back. Fatakan sees 3 members diving in. Here comes Jochi. Heroic Entrance connects only on Honest Abe, and they are not interested in letting Novasphere walk away from this one. Big knockup from Mixture as Fatakan opens up on the stunned members. It's a complete wipe for Dorado Gaming. Honest Abe, the last one standing, and he will be torn asunder by Fatakan. Ace for 1.
Yeah, and this wave or this lane has no top lane turret. That means that they have full time to take the inhibitor and also push into the base. They actually can try and end the game here, depending on how long they take. It's going to be close. 20 seconds for Slamboy, 15 for Rokid. I think they can. I think they win.
Yeah, I think that is game.
Yeah, that's it.
A decisive call from Dorado. Kaido behind enemy lines. They punish the Baron take. They ace Novasphere. And Dorado are up 1-0 in the series.
Not gonna lie, that has to be one of the most anticlimactic ways to finish this game.
It was a cool fight. I'll take it.
Yeah, no, it was a good fight. I'll agree with that. It was a cool fight. But like with how the game was going, I was expecting something more. Like it was a 3v5 that out of nowhere became a 5v5 till Pablo died. Great ulti by Mixer, by the way. But I don't know. I was expecting, maybe it's the anything in me that it was expecting to see everyone in mid lane fighting it out, and then a big team fight in mid lane out of nowhere.
Yeah, you don't expect to see a big explosive fight where the team actually goes and ends the game after it.
Yeah.
But that is what we get this time, baby. Dorado Gaming, they got a little crazy with it in the later stages of the early game, I'll say. You can even see a little bit of red there between 8 and 10 minutes. They did give up the lead for a short bit of time, but they reclaimed it pretty quickly. They were able to prevent the Dragon SoL from going over, and they were able to effectively punish the Baron. Doesn't look like Thornbound Otacon had too big of an impact either. So taking and winning the crucial fights that decide the game, Dorado come out on top.
Yeah, and important that they win this out because realistically, this was a much closer game than it should have been with how it started. And I think that for Dorado, a nice wake-up call to also consider, okay, maybe we shouldn't just think of them as slouches or anything like that. Like, we have to actually try in some of the situations. And full props to Novasphere as well, by the way. They played it out really nicely. They didn't let go anything when they were really far behind. Slamboy may have been slammed consistently, but Chopablo find good picks, Abe find good picks. The Victor was doing a really good job also dealing damage. I think there was a chance for them to win the game. It's only that the team fighting was much better, and also Fatakan was extremely far ahead in that game.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see what game number 2, where the Slam Boy can get a little more involved, might look like for the side of Novasphere Gaming Myth. Dorado, though, coming out on top, a dominant showing from Fatakan in Mixture, one of the most exciting new duos we have in this open qualifier. So far today, we've been making good on the hype, but now Kalista and Nico both going to be off the board. Will we see the Lucian Nami or the Lucian Melio as they look to continue to play through aggressive bot lanes? Will we see a change up in strategy? Well, we're going to have to get into the second draft to find that out. Welcome back, everybody, to today's broadcast of the NACL Open Qualifiers here on Aegis, where Dorado are up 1-0 over Novosphere Gaming Myth after a close back-and-forth game number 1.
Yeah, it could have gone either way, really, with how it was setting up, but finding those last team fights was really effective for the side of Dorado Gaming. Also, the way they were able to manage it out with Vatican being in the lead. But now, this next game coming, there's a lot of champions, essentially all 10 champions, that are going to be out for this series, and you just have to wait what they are going to go for now.
Yeah, all right. New copy pasta just dropped. I do have to read this one on stream from Shochi. You cannot defeat me on ABG Saturday. And I need everyone here to realize that, and I need these casters to pay really close attention to this next game. I'm about to go 11-0-6, so we're going to track towards that for this game at number 2. Hearing some, I don't even have the I don't have the Slam Boy copy pasta anymore. It's already drifted away from me. But
I got it.
There's a
You're
counter
lucky that
copy
Slam Boy got focused so hard. If he has on the board, you would have been cooked. You wouldn't get it. You're not in the industry.
All right. Well, we are in the industry, so let's see what Slam Boy getting ahead might look like coming in for game number 2. I'm looking forward to it. Some real fun copy pastas going back and forth in the chat right now. Thank you, everybody who's been tuned on in. And this is going to be a good game number 2. I'm really impressed with what Novosphere were able to put together for us in that second game, or in that first game. I don't know if Dorado's going to, maybe give quite as many opportunities in the second round here, but if they do, if we get another close one, I'll be pretty satisfied with this day number 1.
Agree. Hey, 2 stumps, 2 close games. That's all we ask for in this sort of matches. And hey, maybe Novosphere can even get away with 1 victory. I wouldn't be against it. They have been playing fun, and as long as it's bloody and it's entertaining, why not, right? I also think Dorado has everything to just be able to stump this game, because even though the game was close, we need to remember that it all kind of came down to that one play in the jungle where they kind of got way too far ahead of themselves. They died, multiple members died, and then Ariana died in the top side. So you have to remember that was really the catalyst for all of that.
All right, well, we're in the draft for game number 2. Poppy hits the ban list. Lucian hits the ban list, and there will be no Lucian Nami for the Fatigan mixture bot lane. That might be the opportunity in the opening that Slam Boy needs to be able to scale into this game and get out of laning phase without being completely taken out the map. Exactly,
and with the last remaining bans, we are not going to get to see Shochi set, it seems like, today, because this next ban, maybe the third game actually, but Tristana also banned away. Probably, I would assume we're going to see something like an Mbessa ban here, or maybe actually as a ban. A buy ban could be an option as well, considering that now we're entering territories of some junglers that are not the typical play with the Xinjiao out, with this Johnny band. Buy is more than likely going to be the next option, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's another Shochi ban, or maybe a Vatican ban. The Corki.
Yeah, we'll find out here. Corki taken off the board. A Senna lock-in. So we might get to see... They gave Senna some buffs on this patch.
Buff Senna, yep.
Spirit drop rate is back up. I think, would she get more crit per soul or something now? Something like that?
I would think that's right. That's probably right to say that it's... I'm not 100% sure on what those buffs are. I just know that she's really strong and that she's really bothersome. And then on the other side, it's going to be the wave for the mid lane. And mid lane didn't have much of a PowerPoint in the previous game for Novosphere, not because they didn't try to, but because it was kind of a silent game for them. They just were throwing lasers out and trying to do as much as possible. But here, with the way the poke that you can throw, the fear that you can set up, can be really, really ADL, and maybe with a good setup from the team, it can be also something to follow up with. Now, typically it would be the jungler picked here, but maybe they want to secure a strong AD carry for themselves as well. And yeah, it looks like it's a Smolder. Interesting.
Yeah, okay, so I found it. So it's the crit chance per 20 stacks is up, and the soul drop rate is up. So you get more crit faster. You only need 200 stacks to get to 100% crit now. You used to need more than that. I don't know. You used to need to put you to 80, so you used to need like 240, 260-ish. So that's a pretty big boon, especially if the game ends up going late. Smolder for the Slam Boy, by the way. That's a spicy one to scale into the later game. And, there is the Ariana Rumble. We haven't actually seen this in ACL yet. He's brought a lot of bans on it, but he hasn't actually busted it out on his ACL team. So now going to be the Rumble, coming in with the Rumble Vi combo, a really impactful duo throughout this whole season. Tom Kench going to be the response. I actually love that out of Novasphere.
Yeah, it does take away from the Senna as well, taking away the duo for them. And with the Rumble, you do have like an enabling AD carry, so having a carry top laner in the form of the Rumble can certainly work out as well. One thing though that it's going to be fun is seeing the stack battle, because it's stacked from Smolders against the stacks from the Senna. Which stacking champion will be the strongest is going to be kind of fun to notice. And then now entering the second ban phase, mid lane will probably be the focus for Novasphere, trying to take away some champions from Shochi, although there is also the opportunity to focus on the bot lane pool by Mixture. Maybe take away something like the Nautilus, something like the Leona, engage sports that can follow up with the Senna, or if they think that maybe there's going to be a potential for an enchanter support like the Lulu to play from a safe distance, although it's not the best choice with the Senna, that can also be something to look out for. And for DOG, I'm guessing top lane bans are going to come through here.
Yeah, very likely. Going to look to defend this Rumble against
Pantheon.
what other things to Pablo might bust out. That's actually probably a Pantheon jungle ban towards Honest Abe. Mixture losing access to the Braum and the Rel, champions that could go alongside the Senna. The thing about the Senna, though, is it does unlock some spicier support selections.
Yeah.
Especially if it's a fasting Senna, which I assume it will be, given that the buffs to Senna are about SoL drop rate. So
I've seen that it's not really any more fasting. They have been farming Sennas.
They have been farming Sennas? All right.
Yeah, well, so I'm not thinking that it's probably going to be the sort of fasting Senna playstyle. But it does still give you the chance to play double range. You can still play that, technically speaking, as the K'Sante does come through. Not going to be the Pablo special counter pick, sadly, but it does give you frontline value and something to try and protect.
It's the SoL drop rate on kill that went up.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's a buff to farming Senna. Oh.
Okay, Shochi. So maybe he's trying to go for that 11-0 scoreline. Maybe he goes for the 0-11 scoreline. Like, there's two ways this could end up going forward.
Yeah, I mean, it could be the Senna Yasuo bot lane. I don't think so, though. Yes. All right, this makes a lot more sense. This is a hell of a setup, though. Mixture going in on the Rakan as a Rakan Senna duo can be plenty strong for them, and it will be the Shochi Yasuo mid up against this Hui. I do think Yasuo and Hui is a pretty solid matchup. Windwall just hoses the hell out of Hui. I mean, you don't like having projectile ultimates against Yasuo, and there's not actually a crazy amount of mid lane mages that people play who have projectile ultimates. You know, you think about it, like the Orianna doesn't, Victor doesn't, Azir, I guess, does, but it's kind of the nature of the Azir ultimate is that it's not like you're throwing it in such a way that it can be windwalled.
Kind of rushes into you.
Yeah, so...
and Wukong last pick, by the way.
Yeah, great selection into the Hui, and the Wukong will be the last pick in the jungle to give some team fighting power to Novasphere. Overall, I think they came up with a pretty good draft. I love the Tom Kench and Devi. I think we don't get to see enough of that. But Dorado showing off some of this Senna tech. I'm very curious to see how they do with it.
Yeah, it is a composition by Dorado that Tam Kench has to be very smart about who he's going to save, because like Bai may be focusing one of the targets, but then you also have the chance that the knockup from the Bai ultimate pushes someone into a Yasuo ultimate, for example, or the knockup by Mixture on the Rakan can also set up Yasuo ultimate against the Smolder or the Hui, which don't have a lot of mobility. Well, sorry, the Smolder has, the Hui doesn't. So if you eat the Smolder as a Tam Kench, the Hui gets completely left by himself and he may die really quickly in a team fight. It's going to be important seeing how they are going to protect these two carries, and also how they are going to set up a team fight so that the Wukong and the K'Sante can do a lot of popping off.
That's what we are on the lookout for in this game. Number 2 could be a really, really strong angle for the Wukong to pop off here from Honest Abe. And really well set up for team fighting here on the Novasphere Gaming Myth side. They can keep Slamboy safe, and the Tom Kench gives them really good resources to be able to do that. So I think if Rokid and Slamboy are able to get out of this laning phase in a pretty solid position, they could very well scale into this game and be massive threats later on. Dorado, without a huge amount of lockdown once that Vi ultimate is gone, if Rokid is able to bail somebody out with a Devour, Mixture probably has to expend the ultimate while he's going in to avoid just getting slammed and thrown around by Honest Abe and Pablo. So if Rokid just eats up Slamboy, gets him away from a Vi ultimate, feels like you've set yourself up with some really good fight lines, and it's going to be tough to get to the Slam Boy from that point onward.
Yeah, realistically, should be the way that it more than likely can try and work out. The Slam Boy though has a lot of way to try and carry this game, because later on in the game he's going to be the main damage deliverer. A lot of damage is going to be blocked from this wave thanks to the wind wall, so he is going to be one of the main factors in trying to make this game go their way. And there's this situation that can happen where Vatican, because of the stacking value as well, can just have so much range that it's going to be difficult to deal with the Senna by themselves. So they really need to find crucial teamfight ultimates, but also to have the Slam Boy really be that hyper carry that they want with the Smolder. If the Smolder is not there, similar to what happened to the Barrows in the previous game, this game can really become difficult for them.
Yeah, really going to be a difficult game if that actually does occur. I do like that Kaido has kind of multiple options for how he's going to play out these lanes. I think being able to gank pretty much anybody effectively is going to be really helpful. You know, Ariana probably not going to want a lot of attention up towards him, but the duo of the equalizer into the cease and desist, really powerful combo to be able to knock somebody's health bar down. Great duo with Shochi. Once Shochi hits that level 6, you can trigger your last breath off of a little Volt Breaker off of Kaido. And of course, Mixture going to be able to ride Kaido forward for a little bit of extra distance to find those engages, and going to be able to utilize their mobility to play off of each other and set up for Fatikan to be able to farm up those souls. So I do also like Senna into melee matchups as much as I do like the Tahm Kench in this composition. Going to be an opportunity for Fatikan to just kind of farm some extra souls off of harassment. All in all, and Dorado have the tools to be successful in the laning phase, and they're going to need to be able to avoid Novasphere getting to this mega late game stage.
Also, this is going to be one of the first few games where we actually see Kaido playing a jungler that will try and be really proactive early on. Like, he played previously the Kha'Zix, the Wukong, and the Viego, and even though the Wukong maybe more so than the other two, as a jungler that will try and impact the game with his ultimate, the Vi is one of those junglers that really can get going early on, like can gank from level 2 onwards, can really find multiple picks for her ultimate, and as soon as she hits ultimate, it becomes easier to even set up for the team. So this is going to be a game where I'm expecting to see Kaido be really active, try and find picks here and there in the lanes, try and set up maybe for Ariana, for Shochi particularly, and make it so that early on you can set up the pace for the game as the jungler.
Yeah, big ask here. Be able to set up early on as the jungler on either team here, right? Because Honest Abe can definitely make these ganks happen pre-level 6, as can Kaido. Post-level 6, obviously the desire for both of these champions, but still capable of making some things happen. And I do like the Wukong into the Vi. I think it brawls very well, the Crushing Blow, to get some of that extra damage in earlier on, as well as the innate armor you get from Stone Skin as a passive. Makes him very effective into some of these other AD junglers early on. So I think that's a good setup for Honest Abe if they do end up finding each other throughout the early clear.
Yeah, could be the way that they are trying to set it up that will make them work out how they want to, and also like looking forward into how they want to set up for the remainder of the series. I'm just assuming that Dorado wants to clean up their play a little bit more, because even though they summed the first series, that was not the real test. And the first game, there were a couple of mistakes that they don't want to go for. So this sort of composition that has a lot of agency on how they want to play, but also has meta picks that they need to understand to play as well, probably is one of the best choices to try and clean up their play before they start going against the heavy hitters, like more than likely Gravity in the next match.
Yeah, is that how the bracket shakes out? They're likely to play against Gravity.
From what I'm looking at, yes.
Okay, I didn't look that far ahead, but I fully believe you there. So yeah, you are correct. So very likely going to be Gravity as the next opponent here for whoever ends up winning this series. And yeah, things are going to start to heat up there. You know, Gravity took down Hardstuck Casterlow already in 2-0 fashion. So you know that team looking pretty strong here. And that team may also, you know, have a little bit of beef now from Ariana's side, given that a lot of that core played on Next Level Esports, who were able to defeat Ariana and stop his team from qualifying for ACL playoffs just yesterday. So would be a fun little rematch for Ariana's side with 4 other teammates at his back this time. if they were to face off against each other. But yeah, I agree. I mean, definitely a lot that they will need to clean up compared to what we saw in that game number 1. I don't think that is the performance that Dorado want to put forward as a real contender to be able to qualify for the promotion tournament here. They definitely want to be able to snowball those kind of leads more cleanly into an early game victory rather than getting back to parity and having to build the lead all over again.
True. Also, I will say quickly, Ariana probably, before thinking about taking revenge against Gravity, he probably needs to clean up himself a little bit more, because that first game performance left a lot to be desired. He was ganked quite a lot, but suffered a lot of solo kills against Pablo in that first game, and even a couple of misplays that probably doesn't want to try and repeat. So needs to try and recoup himself into a much better showing of himself, especially from what we know. We know that from that main gaming side, he is the main carry, and he showed it yesterday really effectively. But today, he needs to step it up a little bit more.
Yeah, and I mean, did Ambessa just get completely deleted on this patch, and I missed it? Like, it's crazy that we just haven't seen Ambessa all day. Her name isn't even in the patch notes. Like, I'm very surprised that we haven't seen any priority on that from Ariana. Maybe just something to save for a little bit later in the tournament, but hasn't been drawing bans, hasn't gotten picked, it's whiffed through all 4 drafts.
It's not like if you pick it now, it's not going to be playable anymore in the future.
Is it disabled? Like, I'm actually like, I'm kind of flabbergasted that we haven't seen the Ambessa at all in all 4 games today. But you know, it's definitely something Ariana's got in his back pocket. I would say it's his best champion that I've seen out of him so far. So maybe something to look at if these series do start going to 3 games.
Vatican is by himself here. He may die here, actually.
Yeah, he did this watch last series as well. They were quite this quick. Nice ghost get away from the abyssal dive. Pulled back in, though, by the E-start of Magmore. He's actually getting a lot of souls off of this, though, so they don't actually succeed in blowing much more. I think actually Faticon's pretty happy with this one. Gonna see if he can pursue one more, too.
Oh, they don't get the ward, unluckily, there, but how many souls did Ariana get? Did Fatican get there, actually?
Yeah.
Yeah, quite a good amount they are able to get there, as going to be a fight for the push control here, and it is going to go into DOG's favor. They do have a heal, so we need to remember that that's going to be much more in favor of the side. Oh yeah, actually 2. Yeah, so yeah, they're going to have the advantage, and already Gleaming popping Quill. The pod once again.
Yeah, Gleaming Quill, a hell of a drug at level 1. So yeah, mixture. All right, you do need to land it on a champion, but it is what he started. So yeah, I mean, Faticon already really farming up those souls here, and with the upped drop rate, I mean, those first couple range extensions are the ones that really matter, because those are the ones that are going to let you outrange the Smolder.
Oh, heal was used down there. Actually, Slamboy, there's no ignite here, though.
Yeah, he does have the barrier, so he can keep this fight going. Getting a lot of fire returned onto him. The barrier was used and melted right through. First blood for Mixture and Faticon yet again.
They just died just like that, getting popped. The dragon barely any chance there, and now they are pushing into the turret, but they can try and look maybe to kill Rokid.
Yep, well, there's Mixture. He finds the knockup, and Faticon gets his first. Honest Aim is here, but Honest Aim is even on levels. He gets hit by the last embrace. Faticon flashes after one more Q. Faticon, Fate of Warfare. Slamboy still level 1. This is ridiculous. Faticon and Mixture are running away with the bottom lane in this game number 2. Slamboy takes level 2. He should be able to finish Faticon here. Shut down gold to Slamboy.
And he gets a shutdown. What the hell is happening down there at the bot side? It is 2 kills for Faticon, and they are stealing Honest Dave's jungle. Okay, what a way to start a game.
All right, wait, here comes Mixture. Wait, Slamboy's level 3. Wait, Slamboy! He's 2-1. He's on the board.
Yeah, already showing us his actual strength. The kill was all just for this purpose. It was legitimately just to set up the counter kill so that he could be 2-on-1 and then destroy everyone up. That's clearly the play.
I mean, Slamboy is ahead of Faticon. Look, they're both 2-1, and Slamboy has 1 more CS.
And this is hilarious. That's a way to start.
We're not counting assists.
True, that's not going to be the most ideal. Well, the good thing though for DOG is that yes, Faticon may be a little bit behind now from Slamboy, but then you see the rest of the map and everyone else is ahead. ahead. Actually, the Honest Abe lost a lot of his jungle because of all that happened.
I have no idea what my evaluation is of Fatakan and Mixture as a bot lane is. After this series, I mean, they have absolutely dumpstered them, both opponents, in the early levels, but they have just as frequently over-aggressed and thrown it right back.
They are a bot lane that clearly enjoys going all in.
Yeah. They're having
that fun. At the very least, I can, yeah, that at the very least, I can say that fully confident.
Yeah, I mean, you can't deny that one bit here. As
now, maybe it doesn't work all the time.
No,
but it's fine.
It may very well not. Fatakan gets hit by the Abyssal Dive. Is at a faint level advantage, but that does not matter as the Flap going to get full procs on towards Fatakan. Healing it coming on through, going to keep them sustained up. Level up for Slamboy, though, going to give him a little bit more combat power. Tongue Lash connects on towards Mixture. Double knock up out of Mixture. Double last embrace. Slamboy taking shots the whole way through. And it's another 2v2 double kill to Fatakan.
Yeah, we thought it was going to be maybe a kill for Slamboy. It's not the case too. Going back to Fatakan, and guess what? It goes back in the favor of DOG. Once again, Fatakan being really strong. 4-1 start, and also the wave is in a perfect spot for them. It's kind of pushing into their side, so this is becoming much more difficult for Novasphere now. Also, quickly just want to mention, Shochi is dominating mid lane.
Yeah, I mean, he's doing a great job here. This is a classic.
11 kills.
This is a classic solo queue game, especially for the top laners, but really in general. Like Dorado's just sitting here 0-0-0-0-0-0-0-0-0-0, and just like wondering what are they doing down there. As they look as Fatakan and Mixture are just constantly trading kills back and forth. Honest Dave got involved once here, so Novasphere not quite having the same story. Slamboy's getting chased down again. They dodge the Abyssal Dive. Oh no! And I don't think Barrier is going to keep you alive for very long there. Slows coming through onto Rokid. Knockups found by Mixture. And the 2 versus 2 is not getting any easier. Fatakan about to claim himself another. Doesn't get the Q through Mixture. A little bit of a mistake there. It's Pablo looking for a solo kill on Ariana. And Rokid did get away. That slight misjudgment on Piercing Darkness. Quite the error there for Fatakan.
Yeah, just enough so that Rokid can survive. They still did get the kill. Oh, wait. Another pullback. Ariana may be dead.
Ariana is overheated, finding some nice return damage, dodging out on the Intofo strikes. And their duel will continue.
Yeah, they are going to keep slamming it up in the top lane, but I find it hilarious how the bot lane play was just going on. They were fighting for their lives, and Kaido on the side comfortably killing Dragon. He didn't care at all.
I mean, Kaido, he's just somehow in a game. Well, I guess Honest Abe did go bot for a little bit. Kaido is nearly double Honest Abe's CS here.
Oh, not again.
Oh no! I mean, this combo, it's just foolproof. It gets Slamboy every time. One more auto. Oh, they can't find it. They can't quite get in range. Here's Kaido up here, dueling to the top lane alongside Tapablo and Honest Abe. Great interrupt on the Intofo strikes from Tapablo. Going to stop the Volt Breaker from coming on through. Kaido hits level 6 off the minions. Get back in there with cease and desist. Now duking it out with Honest Abe. This is counter pick up against level advantage, and Kaido wins it out. Double kill to Kaido.
Yeah, he just went in and fully attacked, thinking that he was going to win, and he did. Really well done in that situation, and it turns into 2 kills for Kaido finally being on board. And the bot lane, they didn't get any kill. The combo may...
Nice knockup found by Mixture, and a good clean execution from Shochi with the last breath. Kill credit goes to Mixture, and you know what? He deserves it.
Yeah, that was a really good kill. He gets the kill, gets out pretty nicely. No, not even needing Ignite to get the kill. He doesn't even have it. And they also get the red buff from the Wukong. They will get the Grubs as well. And they have the Senna collecting even more souls up there in the top side. Everything going the way of the OG. Can we see the soul counter, actually, just to know?
I would like to know. We can get that one up there. I see we don't have the little preview panel in the bottom left, though, so might not be able to pull that up right now. Oh, there it is. 40. Second upgrade just hit for Fatakan. Pretty good timing at 8 minutes and 30 seconds.
That's going to be fun for Fatakan, and really fun for the side of Novasphere to try and deal with.
Yep. Getting a lot of missed stacks there. Well, in fact, they are not souls. Thresh gets souls. Senna gets missed.
I will never in my life call them mist.
No, I don't either.
I can confidently say that I will never call them badass. Pablo may get ganked here, but they know. Yeah, the buy is here, but.
Ooh, not quite getting the connection there. Mixture with the rare grand entrance miss. Does not find a knock-up on it to Pablo, and that kind
Slamboy is coming.
It stops this play for now. Yeah, Slamboy's en route. I don't know that Slamboy wants to be here for this. I actually think he might just end up giving over a second kill. Nice immune from Pablo. Goes into the all-out, dodges out a lot here. Double knockup found by Mixture. Pablo still alive in the all-out form. Turns the play around and claims himself too. Slamboy now here to fight on out Ariana with a nice placed equalizer, but Pablo is still alive. Double knockup from Shochi in with the last breath. Has to fight his way through. Gets the double kill, but falls down to Slamboy on the opposite side. Slamboy with a big opportunity to clean up. We have to get off Fotacon. We're still checking his stack counter, but Magmore and Slamboy clean up the fight, and the Smolder is right back online.
How the hell did Slamboy made it work out that well? I will say though, all of that play is on to Pablo's back. Screw Riot's balancing team, because what the hell was that coming in from the Keisante? Also, important there, the vision. There was no ward inside of the bush, so as soon as Pablo went into the play, he was able to weave in a couple of out attacks without the Senna being able to hit them. Huge value in that play, able to turn it around, and Slamboy back into the game to Pablo, able to find value as well. Also, they were able to get Magmore involved in some manner. That was so important for Novasphere, and even though the gold is still in favor of GOG, it's something back.
Oh, the double collapse on Abe. A lot of the damage actually went through out of the clone there. Cease and desist is popped by Kaido. I don't know if they have the damage for this, though. They're going to back on away. Kaido is working on a Trinity Force, by the way. So he is going for a little bit of a higher damage build, and I mean, this is looking like another game that's going to get a little bit chaotic here, TDS. Dorado Gaming not holding on to their giant bot lane lead. I've seen this before.
It's not the same, and maybe here Vatican can try and go for something else, but hey, they got the kill now on Slamboy, and they can try and get the turret back into the favors as well. The dragon is alive also. We need to remember that. We haven't seen a lot of dragon collections this series, but it is alive, and that can be also another objective for DOG.
It can be. So, Dorado, with their feats of warfare in tow once again, or feats of strength rather, feats of warfare is just the 3 kills. Doing pretty solidly in that department, finding themselves at about a 4K gold lead. So they are still firmly ahead. I don't want anyone to get it twisted. It's not like last game where Novasphere brought it back into parity at about 9 minutes in. But last couple plays have gotten a little bit messy, and the fact that Smolder has gotten so many kills and so much gold, it does have to be a point of concern as those dragon training stacks continue to come on through.
Yeah, I told you, it's a stack against a stack game. Who has the better stacks? Is it the dragon? Is it the Mist Lady? Or is it? No, that would be Gwen, right? So she's probably the trapped Mist Lady, I guess.
Yeah,
I'm not sure
I don't know.
anymore.
I don't keep up with the lore, especially whatever the lore was for that event where Gwen and Akshan came out. That was a mess.
Wait, they came out together?
Not like at the same day, but like they were all part of that Viego event, right? Them and Viego all came out back to back to back. It was like part of the big lore event.
Yeah, nothing will ever replicate the event that I lived with Gangplank, because that was my first event, so I always value that one more over any other.
Oh, you know what? Maybe Senna was way earlier actually, and it was like
Senna did come. I think
it was
Senna
just Gwen. It was Gwen,
yeah.
Akshan, Viego that all came out. Although I thought that's what I said.
Yeah, so Senna did come out before I assume. Oh,
ooh, damage coming through on towards Mixture, able to get himself out of there with the quickness. Abyssal dive, looks like it got interrupted. Mom comes on across, knockup found on a Shochi, flash forward on a Mixture, but the follow-up is just not here. Tornado goes wide. Last Embrace connects on a
just autoing.
Returning fire. Gets a lot more damage out than they take. Really well done by Dorado there, and wow, Fotacon looking dangerous on this Senna.
Yeah, I'm guessing those buffs really did help out in the way that they were hoping for, because look at that damage and also the value that the Senna is bringing. Oh, Shochi.
Yeah.
Wait, actually this may be bad for them.
Oh, Slamboy. able to barely flap his way out in time.
Kaido's behind. Kaido's behind.
Yeah, he's looking for a play here. I don't know if one is going to present itself. The Pablo is still here. Good damage found with the Piercing Darkness. They're looking for Fatakan. I'm not going to connect. Over the wall comes Kaido. Diving on the Slam Boy. Devour out of Rokid. Gets onto Honest Abe. It wasn't the target they wanted, and I don't think anybody's getting out of this one. Dorado Gaming with the meat grinder. Takedown 4.
Yeah, you may have Devour in your favor, but if you don't devour the dragon, it's going to be really bad for them. And they get on top of Slamboy, kill him really quickly, and then the rest of the members following suit. Fatican is just so comfortable this game because he's barely threatened at all. The Abyssal Dive is not really arriving at the right time. He's able to evade them really easily, especially with Ghost, but even without it, he can move around it really effectively. And then the Wukong ultimate is really not finding any value either. There wasn't any in this team fight, but in general, it's just not finding the right value that you're looking for when you want to have a Wukong in your team. So the continuation of the fights just work out much better for the OG as they're getting collapsing here. Actually, Honest Abe may need help here.
Taking a lot of harass there. Mixture shows up with the knock-up, and it is a 4 versus 2. Mixture's going to have to get out of here. Mom coming in for the backup. Knockup connects, but it's only out to Pablo. Shochi going to try to guide his team out of here. They find a ton of damage on a Rokid who just melts. But now right back in is Shochi taking big damage. On the other side, finds the knockup on the Slam Boy, takes him down for a double kill. Back over the wall. This is Shochi's moment, baby, as he looks to clean up the rest of the fight. Gets into the middle of Honest Abe, goes down to the Cyclone, and just barely manages to miss out on what could have been 4. Honest Abe now with a chance to be able to chase back out of the other side. Does have that Trinity spot between 2 members of the Dorado Gaming bot lane, and Fatakan will be the one to finish him off.
Also, just quickly, by the way, Shochi failed us. He's 5-2.
At 11-0-6.
Disappointment. There's nothing more that I can say here from Shochi as Ariana may get collapsed in here. Does he die though? Yeah, he does.
Yes, he does. He's knocked up in a Slam.
He has no flash even.
To be fed the gold and the kill credit.
So actually, we have
seen on Dragon Training Jacks. Can we take a look?
I was gonna ask that because we have seen the Senna. We have not seen the Slambo yet.
Yeah, I mean, we know he's not at the execution threshold because he would be executing people.
Yeah,
but we'll be there before too long.
Actually hilarious just watching Fatican be so comfortable walking forward that he deals this amount of damage from such a safe distance and they cannot do anything at all.
Yeah, not going to be able to do it quite yet, and we'll have to see if he's going to be able to scale into the game in time. Dorado really starting to run away with this one. Rift Herald thrown on down to try to siege onto this inner turret, and with the grubs, just so easy to melt through that one. I'm trying to get out of here. Idling over towards mid lane. Do they have the driver's license?
Oh, Abe?
I don't think so. I think they crashed. Oh, no, they didn't. Here's Mixture. He brings it in.
Went full way. Oh, Abe may be dead.
Long way around, but Mixture successfully passes driving school. Now the fight breaking out on the opposite side. Mixture finding the knockup across the board. Tornado goes through onto Magmore. Slam Boy finding himself a nice fight line, but the Dragon Training stacks just are not there. It's a 3-for-1. Shochi, the only one who falls. Again, 11-0. Not going to be the scoreline this game, but Slam Boy getting slowed up, getting chased down. One more shot from Fatakan. Might be enough to finish him off, but no dice this time around. Slamboy and Rokid and Magmore all alive now. But will they be able to defend their mid lane inhibitor turret? I think it's going to fall before they can arrive. It goes on down. Mixture looking for another fight. Slamboy loses all of his health right away once again. Abyssal Dive. Not quite going to be able to connect. Honest Abe flashes in. No Cyclone. But they are able to pick up the kill onto Fatakan anyway. Magmore with the Severing Bolt claims one back.
Yeah, perfect timing there. Able to find Fatican in that position, and the shutdown does come through. It's going to be enough to escape there, almost catching Mixture, and finally the Dragon looking to be the objective they are going to go for. Kaido is alive, and they have still the Yasuo and the Rumble with teleports try and come here. They don't know this. Oh, Magmore.
Well, there's going to be Kaido finding some nice damage on towards Magmore, but Not enough to finish him off. Got Shochi coming on in for the backup. Mixture over the wall. You're going to find a knockup onto Honest Abe's clone. Honest Abe dashing in, dashing out, trying to get this dragon. It's stolen by Mixture.
Wait,
I think he took that one off of the smite on the spellbook. And they're going to be able to close out this fight easy peasy on the back half of it to Pablo trying to make a big play, but it's already a triple kill to Shochi. Quadra stolen away by Ariana, and that is an ace for just Kaido.
Yeah, they just get Kaido and they got the dragon anyway on the side of the OG. Shochi even teleporting topside to push the wave. Yeah, this game is getting completely dominated by the side of the OG. They have so much damage, they have so much value, and they are looking to maybe not close it out as soon as possible, but certainly try and finish it as soon as they can. And one dragon off of SoL as well in the process.
Absolutely.
Ouch.
And they're going to be able to finish off that inhibitor. Abe walking forward, finds the knockup onto one. Abyssal dive doesn't connect. They're spiraling despair. They've got the bot lane locked down. Magmor finishes off Vodacon. Here's Shochi in the middle of 4. I don't know about this one, buddy, as he's just going to get melted down by the full force of Norbersphere.
Oh, he gets one.
They finish him off. Slamboy gets the kill. He gets one back on a Rokid. I still don't think that's worth. Oh my goodness, Honest Abe, we're just losing our minds this game, TDS. This is the second time Honest Abe is so committed to faking people out with the fake decoy. I love it. Pablo, nowhere to go but in. Slamboy and Magmor are here. He's actually frontlining for his damage dealers here pretty effectively. Kaido's gonna get caught out on the other side. Slamboy, melee range with this Trinity Force Vi, just pumping out the damage. Mixture shows up, knockups and charms galore, and Dorado Gaming win it out yet again. In the never-ending fight, it's Dorado Gaming getting more than they give.
They just needed to prove that they didn't need neither Vatican nor Shochi to be able to win that fight, and they do it in a pretty effective manner. I think they may just try and close the game out without Vatican or Baron or anything at all.
And now looking for the knockups. There we'll find Honest Abe. Rokid devouring Honest Abe on purpose this time. But I don't know that it's going to do much for them to be able to defend the Nexus. Vatican raining hell on towards these Nexus turrets. Slamboy is back.
Hey, maybe they can.
And they're going to be able to force him back. I think this game will go on for a little bit longer. I see Dragon Training is starting to spread to the backline minion. Magmor TP'd in, gets fear onto one, has to flash away from Mixture. Spiraling Despair connects onto 2. He needs the rest of his team here to show up and back him up. Vodacon in a pretty safe fight line. Abyssal dive in from Rokid, just takes a bunch of abuse right back from Vodacon, has to go to the Gray Health. Magmor goes to the Stasis, Piercing Darkness, or rather Dawning Shadow, going to find his way to finish off Rokid. Now Shochi's in there, trying to fight his way out to Pablo in a 1 versus 3. Dorado going to lose their support, but they will hunt down to Pablo. It's another ace for Dorado in a game that has gone completely off the rails, and I think they're finally going to be able to finish it here.
This game was going to be ending like this. It felt like after what happened first game, after what happened at the start of this is the only way that the game could end. And at the end, it's Dorado standing on top. Norbersphere, full props to them. They tried, but trying is not enough.
Okay, Abe's gone. Rokid is still here. Magmor respawns. All right, we're done here. 36 or 37 to 16. Dorado Gaming win it out in 22-30. And that is a 4-0 day for Dorado Gaming. They will move on to face probably Gravity.
So here's the thing. This is the expected result, but the way that we reached that expected result is probably not what we expected.
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of questions about what this is going to look like. I mean, Dorado having some fun today. They certainly put on a show here. I'm loving this bot lane so far. These guys are nuts.
Yeah, this is probably going to be the funnest bot lane we're going to have in OQs. Like, based off of this game, it's going to be really, really enjoyable. Also, by the way, note that Shochi did die, so we're going to put him on that. I think he reached 11 kills, but he died. So not good enough.
Yes, he did have some deaths in that one, but he got actually pretty close to the metric. He did get 11 kills. He even got a couple more assists. So
yeah,
we'll call it even.
So he got 2 more assists. He died 4 times. If we do basic maths, that's only 2 difference. So I would still hold him to that.
Indeed, indeed. So Fatakan with a massive game number 2 to close on out the series. And an undefeated Dorado will move on to the next day. We'll have round 3 this time around. Again, I don't know if I'm remembering last OQs incorrectly or if the schedule is different this time, but we will still have winners round 3 and perhaps winners round 4 tomorrow, assuming that Dorado gets to continue going. They will likely play Gravity tomorrow, although the Gravity UIIAI series is the last series to start, so they aren't even 1 game in while this series is already over. But Gravity heavy favorites in that one should be expected to be the winners.
Yeah, should be the case, should be how it goes. Although it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a fun one. Whoever is able to be on for that. I think you're on for that one, if I'm not wrong, tomorrow.
I will be here. So, yes. We will have. I believe you will not be. I believe we'll have Jack tomorrow.
No, it will be Jack. Yeah. Sadly, tomorrow I have other plans already in the way.
All good. All good. I mean, we didn't even know that we were going to have a broadcast for this one for a while. So people have plans. I'm going to be out next weekend, I believe. So we will figure everything out. Does look like, all right, no interview today. So we're going to raid over to Gravity. I mean, Gravity's about to get their series started. So
yeah, you get a full series now.
Yeah, you guys get to have a whole 3rd series. So even though there's not a 3rd series here, there's another round 2 matchup just getting started between Gravity and, what did I say? UIIAI.
I'm not going to say the name ever. UI.
Yeah, what does that stand for? I'm curious to see who's on this team. Idol. Oh, okay. Idol. I recognize Heal It Up as an IGN. I don't remember who's on this team. Admirable Potatoes on this team. So a couple of ACL folks that we've seen around before. Sure to be a good matchup. So we will send you guys on over there. Remember, the winner of that match will play against Dorado tomorrow. So you can continue to follow Dorado's journey in an indirect way. And we will be back tomorrow at 4 Eastern for round 3 matchup against whoever wins that series. And we'll continue to follow Dorado's journey as long as they keep getting matches. If they lose game 3, then they will not have a game 4 tomorrow. It will be next weekend. So playing it a little bit by ear. Going to depend on results. With all luck, though, we will get the full 4 suite of Dorado series for this weekend. So until then, thank you everybody for tuning on in today. From myself, TDS, and Caddy on production, we will see you guys tomorrow.